up these things. I don't want a flaccid microphone. That's a terrible way to start your morning. We got Flex and we got James. Leigh-Ann Mole overslept. Happens from time to time. It's happened to me. It's happened to everyone else. So I'm not going to get and let that get in the way of what we have to do this morning, which is have a good time. And we're going to be joined later on by Dr. Hanan. We'll have Ben pop in. We've also got someone who I absolutely love having here, Craig Wilkinson, who we've had before. He is the guy who identified long before anyone else that our major social problem in this country, and it doesn't mean it has to be a depressing conversation. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's something he feels very inspired to do something about. And that is, of course, the fatherlessness problem we've got in South Africa, the lack of good male role models, all of that stuff and more with Craig a little bit later on. Ben will also be popping in, and we'll be doing some sport with him. Of course, for the weekend on the way, there's going to be plenty of sport to talk about too. I see already the comment section alive and kicking. Bitcoin But hitting it hard this morning. Obviously, Bitcoin But makes bread, so he wakes up super early and then gets in front of the oven. And he said he's enjoying this weather because if you don't know, maybe you don't live in Gauteng, but we've had some amazing rain over the last couple of days. In fact, so much of it that everything looks greener than it has in ages. And I love that. Driving in this morning, it wasn't raining, but it's cloudy. And it's just perfect because you don't get, super, super hot and you don't feel like it's that stifling hot summer stuff. But you also don't feel like everything is, middle of winter freezing. And I said to James this morning when I got out of the car, I was like, you know what? I would rather have triple the amount of work and irritation and meetings and shit that I had this week, which was a lot in any case. Still rather have all of that and wake up and do the show and it's light outside when we start the show than start in the middle of winter, which we all know all about as well. All right, so let's get going. We got lots to talk about today. I'm going to start off with James. I have a little graphic I want to send you. I didn't send this to you before, but I'm going to send it to you now. This is I think pretty fascinating. So we've often spoken on the show about Dunbar's number. Dunbar's number is the number of the maximum number of meaningful connections you can have at any one time in your life, and obviously people think that varies from person to person, but it turns out it doesn't vary. It turns out actually the number is fairly consistent over not just humans, but he started off, because he's a social anthropologist, he started off by studying other primates and figured out that there are only certain numbers that make sense, that you can actually keep connection with. And it's way lower than you think. I mean, we all have, I don't know about you, thousands of numbers on your phone. Thousands of people, some of them you won't remember. If they phone you now, you'll be like, who the hell is that? But you saved their number at some point. So they must have meant something, or you hoped they would. And this number, this Dunbar's number, is somewhere between 120 and 150, they say. That is the maximum number of social connections you can have at any one given time. And I think I've had probably at any one time, I don't have the capacity for nearly that number. And by the way, it doesn't matter how smart or how dumb you are. Apparently, it's consistent over all people. I think 150 is a lot of work, and you have to keep up a lot of conversations. If you're doing 150 talking to 150 people in a day and making meaningful conversation with them, I think that's terrifying. So look at this. The number of known names that it is possible to have, or that most people have, 1,500. Then the circle inside of that is acquaintances. So obviously acquaintances, and it goes into some discussion here. You probably can't see that on your screen now, but that's people who you know personally, but you interact with infrequently. Then you get the yellow circle inside of that one, which is only 150. That's friends. That is meaningful relationships kept active over time. So think about, I had a really cool conversation with somebody who I've been friends with since nursery school yesterday. His parents and my parents are friends. We kind of grew up together, used to ride our bikes in the neighborhood. We used to be at each other's houses the whole time. People like that are the ones that you can count in that 150. And they are pretty much there for life if you work at the relationship from both sides. Then you get good friends. That's the people in the 50 category. Only 50 of them, huh? 50 good friends. And to some people, that may sound like a lot. They go, what the hell? I only have 10. But the maximum number you've got is 50. And then you've got best friends. Those are trusted, regular contact people who have strong mutual loyalty. Only 15 of those. Inside of that, you have what they call close friends. That is deep emotional support, the first people you call. And I'm sure that everybody, I don't know about you, but I keep in WhatsApp, for example, you have those pinned conversations. I wouldn't say I ever use those for friends, but the 3 most important things I have to do in terms of getting back to people, answering, some detailed question, something I owe them, something I have to try and remind myself to do, I pin those things to the top. That doesn't mean that those are necessarily the friends, but they could be. And then you've got, inside of that, intimates. And that's in what they call the ego circle, the smallest circle of all. And they go 1.5. That's what Dunbar reckons. 1.5 is, outside of yourself, the people you can actually consider in almost all the decisions you make. So that would be like an intimate partner, husband, wife, someone you've been with for many, at least weeks, I would think, before you'd consider them to be someone in that circle. Probably months and maybe even more healthily years. But that's pretty much it. 1,500 at the outside. And then known faces is an interesting one up in the corner there, because they say known faces 5,000. That's how many faces you can remember and recognize instantly. 5,000 is not bad. If you think about it, that computer in your head is doing a lot of work to remember 5,000 known faces. So, what does this mean? Well, it means you've got limited time and you've got limited energy and limited application. So do not waste your time around people who don't fit into those circles. And it's been quite generous giving you 1,500 known names. If you can keep it around there and not go over, those people will remain known names to you for a very long time, and you can build something that's worth something with those people. So I was thinking about this because I saw a friend of mine yesterday, I mentioned this, who was mates with me at varsity, at nursery school, and then we were at university together too. And he's been traveling the world. He's working in crypto. He's just one of the nicest people. And with someone like that, and I'm sure you have people in your life who you feel the same way about. You sit down. He popped in at about 6 o'clock, and he left at about 8. 2 hours of nonstop, fascinating conversation. I would be lying to you if I said that for a second there I was thinking, oh, what are we going to talk about next? Or I wish he'd go home. Or most of the things that I think with other people. And maybe that makes me a cynical bastard. But we went from girls to politics to religion to food to exercise to just about everything. And I think that's meaningful. I think that adds enormous value to your life. When you go to sleep at night, as I did last night very happily, I thought suddenly, damn lucky. And I do think gratitude is a massive part of what you have to do every day. Just as cynicism is sometimes necessary. And when you've got fear and anxiety about something, you remedy that very often with gratitude. So if you've got good things going on in your life, you have to remind yourself of those good things. Then it counterbalances any anxiety or nervousness or cynicism that you have about the universe. And it's the little things, man. He was talking about living in the present, right? Which Hanan has spoken about so many times. And I just don't know that there is a greater piece of advice I've ever heard than when Hanan said on the show that time, if you want to be happy, live in the moment. Live for now. Don't want to be anywhere else. Don't want to do anything else. Make the most of the situation you have right here, right now, because it almost freezes time. takes away the anxieties of the future and perhaps the depression of the past, and you just feel much better. All right, let's look at some news. I've got lots to talk about with you this morning. First of all, the Real Network Slippery Pickle wants to know from us at the Real Network, am I an acquaintance or just someone who makes a sneaky shit in your toilet when you're not there, Gareth? Slippery Pickle, you are neither an acquaintance nor someone who's ever shat in my loo. And this is precisely why you don't have any friends. As you grow older, you have less friends in your life. Even family will become distant. It's life because time is precious, says Togolosh. That's 100% right. It's a funny thing. They did some research. I think it was Pew or Quinnipiac or one of them, and they figured out that the key to longevity, and we may have discussed this before, I can't remember, but it's something that I've remembered. The key to living a long life, forget about happy or healthy or how much sleep you get. All of that stuff matters, obviously. How fit you are, what you eat. We know these things are good. Avoid poison, avoid toxic chemicals, try to avoid disease wherever possible. That obviously counts. The single biggest factor in making people live longer, and they've done this 10,000 people longitudinal study at one of the major U.S. universities. They figured out that the only if you break down all the different factors and you try to isolate the most valuable contributor to this, it is the number of meaningful connections you have that give you purpose, a sense of community, belonging. That is what makes people live long. So Togolosh, you're spot on. Don't confuse acquaintances as friends. You're creating a false sense of security. Well, look, let them screw that up. That's my attitude. Give people a chance once, and if they let you down, then maybe if you really care about them, you give them a second chance. But after that, you're the idiot, right? Good morning to all, says Judas in the comments, and also Patrick, who said, I only go to up to the good friends part. The rest I dump. A waste of time. Well, you do save time if you have less friends. But I do also think it's important to keep introducing novelty to that, because if you stay around only the same few people for 20, 30, 40 years, it can have the effect of making you quite boring. It can really turn you into a very predictable, very routine, very unadventurous, very uninteresting person. And you don't want that. So, James sent me a bunch of stuff at like midnight last night. You thought I didn't recognize the time, James, but I was also up working last night. And he found a picture. You remember we spoke about that Miss South Africa, the first black Miss South Africa. Remember she was Cynthia Shange. We spoke about her the other day. So she was born in Lamontville, Durban, and she's now 76 years old. And we always talk about people on this show, and we say, I even posted a thing on Instagram this week of bad plastic surgery. I don't know what the hell's happened, but we've spoken about Simon Cowell. But have you seen what Brendan Cooper looks like? Holy shit. What are these people doing? Is that Ozempic face, or are they going for surgery that they don't need? Some really bad stuff going on in Hollywood. Who's the other one that was in that clip? Some one of the famous kind of male actors in Hollywood. I don't know what these guys are doing. I don't know if they're afraid of getting old, or if someone is forcing them to go for that. Like they've got an agent or a manager or a studio that says to them, you have to go in for surgery. But man, it's terrible. There are people, however, like Cynthia Shange, who's at 76. I think this woman looks pretty damn fine. And, we've also, from time to time, found examples of people who've aged well. I mean, I think she looks glamorous as hell. Is that a, torso on the top of her stick? Oh, what the hell? Saucy old minx. Look at her. She's got her boyfriend's torso right there on her stick. Yeah, show us the befores as well, because, I mean, that's in the 60s? 76. Wow. Holy shit, before I was born. She looks fantastic for her age. You see, again, like age gracefully, right? Don't do the surgery. I know there's probably plastic surgeons who are listening to us this morning and go, no, don't stop the flow of business from all these people who are terribly insecure. I don't think it's worth it, man. I really don't. If you go for that plastic surgery and it doesn't work, you can look horrific. You will look like Michael Jackson. Zac Efron is a great example. James just said, you got to see him. Yeah, show us a before and after, because there was a very funny thing going around the other day. It's a picture of Zac Efron and Britney, like side by side. First part says, like, this is when you were in high school, and it's got like Zac in whatever that high school show was that he was in, and Britney back in the start of her career, Hit Me Baby One More Time, etc. And then it shows them as they look now, and it goes, when you meet in Checkers 20 years later. It's just not as good. It's really not as good. And that's not just aging. There's aging well and there's aging dangerously. And I think that there are good things about having each line in your face is a bit of character. You know, I don't know what the dude had to do to his jaw. What? There was some rumor about him falling in his kitchen or something. That's what he said. But also, look at all the other stuff going on. The eyes have changed. I mean, something's not normal there. On the right, the lips even look different. He's had something done to his jaw, right? There are guys who do these jaw implants. I don't know if that's what he's had. But the guy on the left looks completely different to the guy on the right. And I mean, that's not even a fair comparison, James, because if you just take him from 10 years ago, I don't know how long ago that is, then you'll see like the guy used to be like one of the best looking men in the world, and now he looks like Simon Cowell. They all look the same because they all go to the same surgeon. This is the problem. They all go to one guy in LA who's like, I don't know what his name is, but this guy's got to be. He's got good marketing, man. Because if I were churning out projects like those. And I was, that would be like a very bad word of mouth. Who did you go to if I bumped into Zac Efron, you know? So who did you go to, Zac? Oh, I got this great doctor. His name is Dr. Whatever. I'd go like, fuck, I'm staying away from him. But he keeps getting business because he's done all of these guys. It seems to be much tougher. I don't know why guys are doing it. I understand the pressure, like in Hollywood, particularly for women. You know, if you're an actress, the roles do dry up as you get older, unless you're Meryl Streep or Judi Dench or one of those people. You can keep going forever. If you're a guy, though, there's no excuse, because maybe some of the best roles you'll have are in your 40s and 50s and 60s even. You know, you think about the big ticket stars, male stars in the world now, a lot of them are older guys. And maybe they get that much more kind of wise, been through it look to them. But this is bad. This plastic surgeon must stop his shit. Also want to talk about Joburg for a little bit. I saw yesterday on the news that Joburg has so many water leaks that we are wasting hundreds of millions of rands every day. Now, we had, 30 mils of rain the other night. So the reservoirs and the dams and all of that stuff shouldn't have a problem refilling. But I don't know about you. I'm tired of hearing from, when they're, let's say, 2-3 months of no rain, and then suddenly everybody gets water restrictions. And that's just because they can't manage things properly, not because we're not using it properly. We're overusing the water. We're leaving things on. I don't know about you, but I don't leave any taps on in my house. We pay for that water too. So why can't the municipalities manage it better? And apparently they also appointed some new, or he's the old municipal manager that they've brought back in Joburg. All I want for Joburg is it mustn't be so embarrassing. That's all. They had some item on the news the other night about a church somewhere in Joburg. I think it's in the West Rand, James, your area. And this church it has like a huge big hole outside. There was some pipe burst. And the guys from the municipality arrived and they just put tape around the hole and then fucked off again. Didn't fix anything. Didn't tell these people at the church who, for some reason, are worried that other people are going to fall in it. It's not right at their entrance, but it happens, you know. Worse things, stupider things, more terrible things have happened where kids have drowned in a small puddle. And the municipality, I reckon those guys from the municipality, they just put the stuff around the hole and they're like, well, that's us done. We've done our job for this week. Right, let's go and drink, guys. I don't know, maybe that's what they do. Here's Joburg, the latest story. Apparently, we're facing in Johannesburg a severe collapse of essential infrastructure. Residents are unwilling, or rather, they're not unwilling, they are uniting to protest a worsening water crisis they call a human rights and economic emergency. Civil groups have demanded accountability for 4 billion rand missing from Joburg Water. These are the people who are meant to provide the water. They're not even the municipality who look after the infrastructure. These are the people who actually are responsible for running fresh water out of your taps in Johannesburg, okay? Apparently, 4 billion is now missing. They're trying to ask for reforms to the water board, urgent government intervention. Government intervention? That's not a good idea. There'll just be more stolen. Oh, we've had 4 billion stolen from Joburg Water. I know what we'll do. Let's get the government involved. Oh, now it's 6 billion. That's what'll happen. The mayor, Dada Morero, and the president with their bomb squad, as they've called it. Very, very bad choice of name. They are continuing to struggle with failing water, electricity, and road systems. So here's the thing, Joburg. You can't trust these guys who are running it at the moment to keep running it. They're running it into the ground. You could say what you want about Cape Town. People always go, oh, well, you know, there are poor people in Cape Town. I hate to break it to you, but there are poor people in every major city in the world. There isn't one that doesn't have poor people. And poor people get the same services in Cape Town that the rich people get. The rich people have to pay for the poor people's infrastructure in their areas. So don't hate them. They're paying double. They're paying their rates and taxes, and then they're also paying for the infrastructure and rates and taxes of the people who don't pay that in the poor areas. So before you start laying into the people who live in nice neighborhoods in Cape Town and you keep feeling sorry for the people who live in poor neighborhoods, ask yourself why the rich people have to pay for the poor people. What claim do those poor people have on the rich people, other than it's unfair and it's unequal? And is that a good reason? When you have kids, if you have kids, and the one manages to find something interesting in the garden and the other one doesn't have it, and the other one starts screaming and tantruming because it doesn't have what the other one who found something has, what do? Do you break the thing in half and give the screaming, whiny, moany kid the other half, and therefore render both halves useless? Or do you explain that the world's unfair, that things don't always end up being equal, that equality and fairness are actually fairly childish ideas, and the point of life is to be as unequal as possible? I don't see anyone waking up early on a Friday morning with all of us as you are today, and I no doubt that the people who are listening to this show have things to do, places to go, and stuff to hopefully engage in that will be profitable to them. But you don't wake up in the morning like you work for the United Nations and go, I don't really mind if I make a profit or not today. Today is not really about the money. Today is about, I don't know, making sure that everybody else is happy or whatever. I'm sure there are people like that, but the majority of us work as opposed to doing all the other stuff that doesn't count as work so we can have money. Why do I say that? It seems kind of obvious to us, but the reason you want money is so that you can make yourself unequal to other people, not because you're trying to compare with them, but you want to live your own individual life with your different options and the things that you like doing and be able to pay for the stuff that you want to pay for, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't go to work. You'd just sit at home, and go, I don't need to. I have no reason to make any money today because I have all the options I need already. It is very good to be unequal to other people. Better if you're unequal and you are better than, because then you have more options. Not so great if you're unequal and you're worse than. But if you are unequal and you're worse than, and it's because you're comparing yourself to other people on social media, don't then imagine that the people who look like they're having a good time on social media, or the people who seem like they have more money, the people who seem like they have better jobs, don't suddenly decide out of resentment that the only solution to this is for you to take some of theirs and give it to yourself, especially if you're the government, because ultimately, as Margaret Thatcher says, you eventually run out of other people's money. And that's what's happened in Joburg. So let's take a look at some other stuff that's going on. AI is just driving me up the wall at the moment. There's a graph that someone sent me just this week, which has me. I'm sort of ambivalent about this because I know it's inevitable. Okay, it's bound to happen. So it's the rise of AI generated content, and you've probably seen a ton of this already in the last week online, but somewhere around last year, like towards the end of last year, human-created content took a nosedive, and AI-generated content started increasing, but they still weren't near enough each other on the graph. Then, about a month ago, and you've probably felt this too, you've probably experienced this in clips that people have sent you. Someone sent me a clip the other day of, it looked so real, of people are on a game drive vehicle, and then they're driving away from what looks like a lion kill or a lion who's busy hunting, and the antelope jumps into the game vehicle and stands between the people. It's an impala male. Okay, I don't know if this thing's fake or real. It's hard to tell. It's pretty damned amazing. If it actually happened, then someone has to explain to me how the impala just stood there in between these people, almost like it had understood it's safe now, which I don't think a wild animal would do around any creature that it could perceive as a threat. And certainly impalas don't run up to you and want to nuzzle. And if it's being chased by a lion, it would not just stand there still. If it is real, possibly it is. I don't know. I'm not some expert on this subject. If it is real, it's a phenomenal thing. And I'm glad someone caught it on video. It just seems too perfect for me. I look at it and I see this antelope, and first of all, the camera's perfectly trained on this animal. It jumps on, it stands there calmly between them, and then the video cuts. And it is extraordinary. But I do not know if it's real or not.
Of course it is.
Oh, Jesus, Ben, did you pop up out of the floor?
Yeah. Well,
It's real?
You know I sleep behind here. Of course it is, Gareth. Nature is a wonderful thing.
You've seen that for real?
No, I haven't seen it for real myself.
But you think it's possible?
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, those things just do happen. It's the magic of nature. When you spend enough time in and around those sort of places, you get surprised that anything is actually really possible.
I worry, just like I do about the internet, and believe me, I'm not having
So
sleepless
we're talking
nights.
about the rhino impala hyena clip, right?
No, this is a different one. This is an impala who jumps up into a game vehicle between people to get away from a lion. And I don't know if you've ever been on any game vehicle, but there's never a space in between the seats in the game vehicle. They're benches, usually. And it jumps on from the back. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I think it's AI. The point is, AI is now almost indistinguishable.
I disagree.
And there are examples that are pretty good. Of course, there's a lot of shit. Can we talk about 3i Atlas?
What's that?
You don't know? It's just gone right past us, and it's currently behind the sun and will emerge from the sun.
Meteor shower?
No, dude, this is so big. Gord spoke about it last week, and unfortunately, I was listening to him, and then I became, oh, fuck. I'm down the rabbit hole like you can't believe. I want to go to the comment section because I'm sure, we have a lot of conspiracy theorists and very well-informed people in the comment section. So 3i Atlas is this thing They say it's a comet. Oh,
How's it, Leigh-Ann?
Hello.
nice of you to join.
You're stuck in the
Love
bus
the
lane.
way, I love the way she just walks right past the camera.
I thought that we were sleeping in this morning.
No, there was no arrangement to sleep
I
in
really
this
did,
morning.
but it was nice.
Oh, did you have a nice sleep? What's wrong, James? No, come in. Sort out your shit. There's James. Now
Oh,
everybody can
that's
see
okay.
everybody.
I was in
Isn't that
radio
nice?
for many years, so
Yeah, she knows how to do this.
Are you that?
So listen, let me
Leigh-Ann
get you
Mole?
onto this 3-eye atlas thing, guys. Listen, you've got to pay attention to this. It's because it is the most interesting thing in the skies. We've only ever had 3 objects enter our solar system from outside our solar system. Normally, the solar system we're fairly distant from other systems, right? The next closest one is, I don't know, Alpha Centauri or something.
Okay.
It's a long way away. So everything that happens, including all the comets and everything else that we usually see, they're within our solar system. This is one of only 3 objects, hence 3I, 3 interstellar or whatever it is. One of only 3 objects that entered our solar system from outside of our solar system. Wow. So the background is, and I'm not going to go too deep into this because I could go all day and then these 2 will fall asleep.
We'll
and
see
you
how we
will.
go.
I mean, you are trying to sell it.
Leanne's had plenty of sleep
I
already.
didn't
so
want to
you're fine.
believe it. I didn't want to believe it. James, see if you
But
can find
what
a
is
video.
it?
There's a great video from the European space exploration crew. They filmed this 3-eye atlas thing, and that we'll show you at the end.
Is it a rock?
So we think it's probably a rock. So you got like all these great astronomers. They've all been talking about it. Neil deGrasse Tyson. You had that guy who does that. The British guy who talks about astronomy. These are serious scientists. They're not fucking people looking for attention on the internet who want to believe in aliens or any of that stuff. Here's the clincher, okay? So this thing, which I'll show you a clip of just now, James will find it. It could be either just a rock surrounded by gas. I mean, it was beyond Mars, so it's very difficult for us to get super good footage of it. And it's now hiding behind the sun. While it was flying past Mars, the Mars rover got a picture of it. Wow. Okay, which all you see is a line. But what's
It's like
amazing,
one in a bajillion.
that's the point. It's just, first of all, just pause and think about how phenomenal that is. 400 years ago, we weren't even sure that the Earth orbited the sun. Okay, humans were like, no, the sun goes round
yeah.
the Earth.
Or
And
whether it was flat or not.
we didn't even see the planets up to beyond Neptune. Okay, or even Jupiter, I think, was the only visible planet for most people on the Earth. We had very crude tools. Astronomy was a new thing. 400 years later, we have a machine that we have sent to Mars that took a picture of a thing flying in from another solar system and then sent it back to us so we can see that. It's incredible. This thing, this 3-eye atlas, is, they say, up to 2 to 4 kilometers big, which means it's the size of the island of Manhattan. It is traveling at a speed that would take it, I think it would take a minute or 2 minutes to cross from one end to the other end of the United States. It's moving fast. Wow. Here's the important thing. Scientists are watching it very carefully because it has an incredibly well-crafted trajectory. It has entered at a 5-degree to the plane of our solar system angle, and it is going at a consistent speed. Heading towards the sun, it's going to use the sun to catapult it faster. But there's a law of conservation of energy that applies here. If it comes out on the other side of the sun, which we'll be monitoring for, at the same speed that it went in, and they add this sort of, I can't remember what the effect is called, but they add that in, you can calculate what it should be going at. If it comes out even faster than that, that means there is intelligence involved. That means that someone is steering this thing and it's not a rock.
The opposite of when a man pees in a toilet with no trajectory.
I don't know what kind of disgusting men you've been around that are pissing all over the bathroom.
It's just like the
But
control and the decision-making and the intelligence.
The point is, if it is coming out at a speed above what the conservation of energy will allow, there's something piloting this thing, and that is the first proper proof we have that there is something going on here, whether it's on that craft or whether it's being steered from somewhere else, you will not be able to avoid the conclusion that this is some sort of intelligent thing going on.
Haven't we already got evidence of that? I mean,
Have
there was that spaceship during COVID times that just dropped to the ocean, then came back up again.
Are you talking about that Tic Tac thing?
No, I mean, look,
that was reported by eyewitness humans. I don't believe any
there's
human.
aliens that work at Roswell. Gareth, I mean,
Ben, this would be the first scientific proof by calculation that we can offer that something that comes in from another solar
What
system.
if the sun's got like heavy rear draft winds? Because you say it's hanging behind the sun.
It's hanging behind the sun at the moment. In fact, it reached its panhelion. I think that's what it is. Or there's a word for the closest that it will get to the sun. In other words, the top of its orbit around there. And then it will obviously catapult back out. It's an amazing thing to see. If James, when you got that clip, just let me know, because it's almost got like a light at the front, like it's flashing, almost as a plane has lights on the wings, and when you watch them, you can see the
tail lights.
The tail lights.
Yeah.
This thing has got like those, but it's got all these other lights involved, and it doesn't
So it's
look.
not just a rock.
Okay, you tell me when you see this clip whether you think this is a spacecraft. Rock.
And we're ruling out AI here?
There was a guy, I went so down this rabbit hole, I'm going to save you the trouble. There's some guy who reckons it's a big psyop, that they're hollow projecting things onto the clouds or the upper atmosphere, and this is what we're going to see now.
But that's like one guy.
Again, serious scientists and people who have been skeptical of all of this stuff up to now. I wish I could remember the other guy's name. He's that famous British guy who talks about the stars and galaxies.
I know who you mean.
You know which one I mean. Okay, anyway.
It's like a super environment space nerd.
Yeah. He's a trustworthy... Brian
Cox.
something. Brian Cox, thank you.
There we go.
Jesus, Leigh-Ann, you're fantastic.
It's because it's
See, this is why we pay her the big money, everybody. She could just fucking pull a name right out of nowhere.
That's why I remember it.
Look at you this morning, pissing all over Cox. This is all you think about. Disgraceful. Anyway, you tell me what this is, because I don't know, and this could be the first contact that we have. What is this thing doing here? It took the best course that any traveler could take to get a close look at Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, turns around then, gets a look at Earth, and it'll have about 10 minutes as it passes over Earth, which is just enough time for it to get a cool, I think it'll get enough of the surface, enough of the visible surface to be able to, if it's got whatever it's got on board, let's imagine it's a spacecraft.
Of signs of life,
yeah,
etc.
to like be able to pick up whether there's something going on.
So if it is being controlled, like if it can slow down and speed up, and then we'll know by the amount of time that it spends on other planets.
Thank you very
compared
much.
to Earth.
See?
Whether there's life on other planets.
There we go.
Or anything of interest.
Well, I mean, we haven't been watching it for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly where it came from. The other fun thing is that sometime in I think it was the early 2000s, might have been before that, there was what they call a wow signal that was sent from the same place that this is supposed to have come from. Wow signal, which there were scientists observing radio transmissions, frequencies, pulses, energy from all over the universe. At some point, this was picked up, and the scientist who noticed that it was an anomaly went, wow. It's called the wow signal now.
So like literally.
Nice.
He was like, that
Imagine he said fuck.
There would be the fuck signal.
Holy
But this
smokes.
guy was watching this, said wow because it was an anomaly, and it seems to have originated from the same place that this thing originated from. It could just be a comet, and the reflections are like, gas giving off huge amounts of energy. It could be hydrogen. It could be helium. It could be whatever. But when you see this, you tell me what you think. Have you got it? Jesus, there are people scanning the universe from from all. They've picked up on this thing.
Not just scanning Google.
No, James. It takes James like 15 minutes to find this thing. All right, we will move on, but you've got to see this. Take a look.
Yeah.
That's Jupiter, I think.
It
Just
looks
watch it
like-
again.
Okay, it looks like there's a pod inside
Yes.
of a street.
And it's got a front light and a tail light. And then it almost looks like a really fast car.
It looks like it's generating what's around it.
Yeah, almost like a field around
It
it.
looks like it's generating a field in front of it as well.
And in front.
And in front is weird.
That's
Like behind is fine.
That's it. Because a comet or some asteroid or something, you can imagine forward force would mean it would burn backwards.
Yes.
You'd have a tail.
But it's almost
Very
like it's
odd.
projecting into the future.
I don't know. Let's see what the comment section say about this, whether we're crazy. It speeds up near Earth. It's because intelligent life on board has said, quick, wind up your windows and speed past because we're going past Earth. Leigh-Ann is looking great and happy. Love her chuckles, says Rebellious Ruth. Never mind the alien rock. Leigh-Ann is looking great this morning. You're getting lots of compliments, huh? Look at you.
Wish that
How
would,
the fuck is
translate.
James still employed, says Carl DeSantos. Does James have dirt on Gareth? I don't understand. Have we had any movement on your email, James? Have you actually replied to anyone this week? Have you got weird email? Can people hear you now, James? Okay.
Do we have proof of this? I mean,
Yeah.
screen recording.
Don't you have some screen grabs for us to show us the kind of weird shit you're getting?
It's a show. We physically have to show
Yeah.
people.
You know how we bring
it's
clips
called a show.
and pictures and things, and
Standard Bank stop banking you?
No, Standard Bank is still on my fucking case. I just want you to know whether it's spam or it really is marketing stuff from the bank. I never want ever to see that logo again in my life. I found myself getting furious driving past an ad on a billboard for them the other day.
Can you not block this
I don't know. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. I'm not an idiot, Leigh-Ann. I know how to block stuff. It's still coming through. Whoever it is has got a vendetta against me.
It's the mixed messaging you're signaling here. I mean, you're now wearing a blue jersey on the show,
Oh,
ranting
Ben,
about Standard Bank.
don't start.
So now it's working on you.
Don't start me.
You open your
Don't
wardrobe. And
start
you go, I'm just going to
me.
wear that because Standard Bank is now embedded in you.
We're getting you a Standard Bank mug.
Hey, listen, don't we have to go to Hanan just now? Before we do, if these are aliens and they are flying past to check what we're doing and see whether there's life on the planet, or maybe they already know there's life on the planet and maybe they'll get involved. What's the best and worst case scenario?
There isn't a best case because they'll obviously steal.
Steal?
Or imprison.
Steal? You think
They're
they'll
not coming
steal?
here and going, oh, Gareth,
You
what
think
do
our
you like?
shit's really exciting to people who can fly a thing that
What
looks
if
like
they're
that?
like Norwegians by heart?
No,
at
guys,
heart?
that's not how life works.
You think they're
Seriously.
coming to kill us?
But that's
and
nature of
enslave
all
us.
living things. Go through history. Who's ever been a nice oak? Hey, how are you doing today? How can I
What
help?
if it's a woman?
There will be even more imprisonment. Well, put it this way: if it's a woman, you women are fucked first. That's for sure.
Yeah.
because
yeah,
you know
'cause
chicks
she'll
hate
take
chicks
you
the
out.
most.
I don't know.
Yeah. Sisters are doing it for themselves.
She will imprison the men for reproductive purposes. So all the best genetics will be raptured straight away into like this
I
vortex
do
of
not
quim.
think that something that can make a machine that can fly that fast through space, which we can't do, I don't think it wants to fuck us.
It wants to play with us and to extract things from us.
No,
What
it's
fa-
quietly monitoring. If it's got that much capability, it could pierce a hole through the middle of Earth.
Yeah, it could. You might just know that it might like our noses. We've got the only noses like this in the solar system, right? And they're like, right, all the noses, come, beam it.
So it wants noses. This is what Ben thinks.
Anything
about
from the outside is a threat until they're proved differently.
Okay.
History taught us this.
That's probably the safe position. Is like assume it wants to kill us.
If a massive light appears in the sky, grab
That's a
something
boy
to defend
mindset.
yourself.
That's
No.
a guy mindset.
It's a life mindset.
Leigh-Ann, you don't know danger when it's standing right in front of you.
Oh, I do.
Well,
when
then-
I'm faced by a man in a parking lot.
Then you should be afraid of a big giant spacecraft,
No,
if that's
it's
what it
peacefully
is.
doing its thing. It's like a fly on the wall.
You'll be outside like that chicken Mars Attacks
Yes.
going, welcome aliens. Hippie chick. Do you remember Mars Attacks?
Yeah, of
Mac,
course.
mac, 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 mac. You'll be outside sitting on the bonnet of your car with a sign saying, welcome Martians. And like you'll hand flowers to them and then they'll go, mac, 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 and shoot you and like turn you into goo.
Yeah, there'll be Greta Thunberg saying free Marsistan, and then she'll be lasered.
Right, lasered.
Not the worst.
I don't know which approach I prefer. What I will tell you is that if they can discern based on the speed at which this thing emerges from behind the sun, that there is intelligent life guiding it, that it is a vehicle that can be sped up and slowed down by an intelligence of some kind, that is a major deal,
Huge.
Yeah.
right?
The longer you talk about this, the more I think, imagine the break room at NASA or wherever they monitor this thing.
Those guys must
These
be
folks must
so
be-
turned on at the
Yeah,
moment.
they're having
It's
a
like
wank
that's-
face.
big
Just
nerd
completely.
turbo first. Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing.
Like if we're talking about this like this, can you imagine those oaks with the permutations and the other things they're throwing into
Well,
the mix?
I mean, I wouldn't have taken any of this because Gord, I mean, like, really, am I going to? Gord believes in a lot of weird shit. But when I saw Michia Kaku or whatever his name is, and Brian Cox and,
Yeah, you see Brian Cox is very credible.
DeGrasse Tyson, I'm like, okay, maybe this is a big deal. And then they were explaining how it's a big deal. So I understood, oh, fuck, this could really mean something. Anyway, let's just behave ourselves. Can we just, as planet Earth, can we just behave ourselves?
We couldn't do that
While
for
they're
5
here-
minutes.
We have to, because if they look at us and go, we got to wipe these people out, they cannot behave themselves.
As they're going to come here, they're going to look at this Catherine Street bus lane and they're going to go,
That's what's going
Do you
to
know,
turn them.
when you
Yeah.
said
It's
for
fucking-
5 minutes, let's just behave ourselves, I imagined the Catherine Street.
and they'll look at this and go, okay, we know what their nose is.
Oh,
Actually, no.
is Dr. Hanan there? Okay, well, let's go to him. I don't want to waste his time because this is a very important thing to have the doctor on. James was wasting your time the other day, right? It's not just in the emails. James wastes everyone's time. Right, Dr. Hanan?
Completely.
Totally. I mean, I don't know what he's doing half the time. He's got his head up his ass. Who knows? All right, we've got a great guest popping up a bit later on, and I don't know whether you're aware of his work or not, Craig Wilkinson. He's going to be in here talking about a lot of things that I think are deep social issues that we need to address long before we get to service delivery, poverty, inequality, all of that stuff, because these are things happening in families that we need to do something about. But long before we talk to him, I thought you can maybe set the scene for us, because one of the stories that's come up in the last while is about emotional fitness. So people, and you've often said you can't make decisions, you can't live your life by your emotions, they change on a minute-by-minute basis. Many people do, regardless of your good advice. But what is emotional fitness? I mean, I know what physical fitness is. If Ben is suddenly attacked by a lion, he'll know either to fight or flight, and he's as fit as he's likely to be. Probably the lion will win.
It's going to be flight, yeah.
You're gonna, but you'll do your best.
I'll need physical fitness
You're
for
physically
the flight.
fit. In other words, you're as ready as you're ever going to be
Totally.
for that.
Sure.
What is emotional fitness?
So it's a good question. And I think pop psychology will tell you that emotional fitness is the ability to internalize or go inwards and have the language, the linguistic to actually name what you're feeling. For me, emotional fitness is the ability to call out the situation accurately so you're able to achieve better results. The whole notion of, how many words there are for different emotions? There are 22,000 words that describe feelings. So for us to be aware of all these words, it's not only impossible, but my hypothesis is that it's unrealistic and unhelpful too. The way I describe emotional fitness, and I think this is something that everybody should adhere to, is the ability to call out the reason why you are reacting the way that you do. And number two, what you can do about it. So the reason why you are reacting to what is in front of you or what is triggering you, and two, what you can do about it. So I'll give you a quick analogy, and I think this is quite profound and quite important and quite different to what you'll hear in the books or on social media. So imagine a lion comes into the room.
Oh shit!
Most
Again,
people
Ben's
will.
just run from the lion.
He's up a tree.
Yeah, he's
More than
already
one.
up a tree.
Another one.
All right.
Here's the hypothesis. So imagine a lion comes into the room and I ask you, what do you feel? Most people will say, I feel anxious or I feel fearful. And most people would agree that that would be accurate and reasonable and helpful.
Sure.
But I have a different opinion. Because how about we don't name the thing that's going on inside our bodies, fear, anxiety? How about we name it as what is the threat? And number two, what can I do about it? So again, let's take the same analogy. A lion is in the room. Person A labels that feeling as I'm anxious. Person B labels it as there's a threat in the room. The lion is bigger and stronger than me. And the only way that I can survive is not to fight, but to flight. Then I've got three options. I can exit out of there. I can exit out of there. I can exit out of that door. There's the closest door. I'm out of here. Now, which option, I ask you, is more helpful? Person A that labeled that as I'm anxious, or person B that labeled the threat and labeled the solution? It's a no-brainer.
I don't know if you were listening to the conversation just before you came on, but it's basically Leigh-Ann and Ben. That's what you were just talking about. Ben is like, I'm out of here, flight. Leigh-Ann is like, ooh, I'm going to try and guess the emotions of the aliens.
Let me see what does the lion look like it's going to do.
Yeah, right. So basically, Leigh-Ann is option B, and Ben is doing option A.
Masculine
This is
and
with
feminine
regard,
thought.
but this is with regard to aliens, which I suppose is Leigh-Ann doesn't think maybe there'll be a threat. She's like, nah. She doesn't worry. Ben is like,
monitoring.
fucking run. These things are going to try and enslave us. And the same goes with the lion example. They seem to react the same way to these things. Which is the correct answer, Dr. Hanan?
B.
Well, obviously, I'm a big fan of labeling the threat and labeling the solution. Because here's the cool thing. The brain doesn't need a solution. The brain is just looking for a pursuit of a solution. What the brain cannot accept is feeling stuck. The moment
Right.
you feel stuck, that's when the brain explodes. So the moment you're in the pursuit of a solution, not even finding a solution, just in the pursuit, in the action of getting from point A to point B, the brain
Right.
finds incredible gratification in that pursuit. Now, again, one thing that I hear is people say, well, Hanan, the whole description, the lion is dangerous. I need to get out of here. How do I get out? I'm going to get out of there. That's not an emotion. And my answer is, who gave you the right to choose what an emotion is for me? I can label it in any way I want. Emotion doesn't have to be a one-word answer. It can be a whole sentence. And again, my hypothesis is that the moment you describe the situation as a whole paragraph, which defines the threat and then defines the solution, that is a lot more helpful than describing whatever you're going through as a one-word emotional answer.
But it's the hardest part. Like if you look at, say, a marketing funnel, right, which is awareness, consideration, conversion. So you've labeled now part A and part B. The hardest part is, so identifying, defining. The hardest part is the solution. And no one ever gets there. We're so good at diagnosing, but we never get to the third part.
Well, I don't know.
There's lots of people, they're called
What
men.
is the solution?
Yeah, okay, so Ben reckons that men just go
We want
straight.
solutions.
Right.
Women, you want to mess around the top end here because you
Diagnosis
want
is
to chat and you want to
the-
fixate and stuff.
Is there a difference between the way men and women react to a problem like this or a threat?
So there is a difference. Women are socialized to recognize how do you feel? What is the thing that's inside of you? But Leigh-Ann, to your point, in marketing, it's all about identifying and then finding a solution. Why should it be any different in mental health? Can you think of any other profession or any other area of life where identifying the problem and identifying a solution is not helpful? In every field, that is the way we figure out what it is and what to do about it. Why can it not be the same for mental health? Why does mental health why does it have to be, let's go and immerse ourselves in the problem, dig in, double click, and not figure out a solution? And for some reason, that seems to be palatable, acceptable
So
for people in the mental health field to double click on the feeling as opposed to figure out what the solution is.
Yeah.
that's interesting. It's almost like they get stuck between
The
what Leigh-Ann is
diagnosis
causing
level
step
and the
2 and 3.
treatment level.
You know, the idea, again, to go back to the lion or the aliens, is there are people like Ben, I suppose the kind of people who you need in a war situation, who can make the decision, diagnose it, call it whatever, and also enact a solution all in one.
Very important.
Seems
Very
to be
important.
like a...
Very
so listen,
important.
before you...
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say to Leigh-Ann, and I'm assuming in marketing, you identify, you figure out the solution, and then you go and get feedback to see whether your solution created the desired results. And based on that feedback, you make the next move better. And you keep on going through that loop. In mental
Please.
health, it should be exactly the same.
In marketing, they just fuck around all
I
day.
should never have used the word marketing.
They fuck
I
around.
should have used the
They're
word
stuck
toilet
between-
making.
They're stuck between step 1 and 2. They never get to 3. They just fuck around. They're like, we created awareness. Okay. All right, listen, before you go, Dr. Hanan, I should know. I'm in the marketing business too. Dr. Hanan, I saw an incredible poll that was completed in America this week on Gen Z and mental health. And just, I want your thought, your top line thoughts. I haven't prepared you. I didn't send you any tips on this, but I want to know what you think of this. They reckon of the Gen Z people they surveyed, that 4 out of every 10 people in America, in Gen Z, that they asked questions, 4 out of every 10 people have either been diagnosed with a mental health condition or think they are suffering from one and are undiagnosed. 4 out of 10.
Mm.
You've almost got a 50-50 chance of meeting someone who has a mental illness in America at the moment, in Gen Z. That's insane.
Yeah,
Those numbers are out of control.
So, Gareth, you said 4 out of 10. I wouldn't be surprised if you told me 8 out of 10.
Wow.
It's the whole diagnosis business is very profitable because once you diagnose, you can medicate and treat. So you can't diagnose, you can't treat and sell a cure for something that you haven't diagnosed. So I think it's much higher. And remember the saying: if you look, you shall find. If I label you as depressed and I ask you, Gareth, let's go back into your past and figure out what that came from, you will look and you will find. As a matter of fact, you're not going to find. You might even create. I'll tell you a quick piece of research. I know we got to go, but they've done this amazing piece of research. They've taken individuals, they've spoken to their families and got 3 facts about their childhood. And then they turned to the individual and said, we've got 4 facts about you. So they've told them the 3 real ones and the 1 fake one, but they highlighted it as a fact. And 30% of the participants remembered the 4th fact clearly. They remembered facial expressions, where they were, how they acted, who was around them, the weather on the day, because the brain, once it looks backwards, it can create things that don't exist. So when we look, we shall find. So when I label you as something and I tell you to look backwards and look for it, you'll definitely find reasons for why you feel the way that you do.
Yeah, and these are the same people who are struggling to find partners, to get married, to settle down. I don't know how anyone can think that having a serious mental health condition will in any way make it easier for you to have a meaningful relationship with a complete stranger in 2025. You got to sort that shit out, man. Thank God you're listening to Dr. Hanan.
And I want to tell you something. I tell all my patients, we're going to spend 0.1% of our time figuring what you've got. And then we're going to spend 99% of our time solving it and finding a solution by moving forward. The diagnosis should take no time. The solution is where the magic is.
Right. You're also doing a Ben and going straight for the door when the lion comes into the room.
Need marketing conversions, people.
Oh, stop with your mumbo jumbo, you witch. All right. Thank you, Doctor.
All right, guys.
Next thing, she's going to be summoning demons. Look at this. Cheers, Doc. Thanks. Nice to see you.
Cheers, Doc.
Look
Bye.
what I
Nice
just
to
got.
see you. Bye.
Look, Leigh-Ann. Mucking now.
Now
It's just
stand it
come
back.
now.
Is that you in the ad?
Okay, so it says here, it's got the whole thing. I don't think it's from them. Okay, I just checked the email address, and the email address is fika@ois.co.za. It's got to be some
It's never
bullshit
been them.
thing.
It's always a scammer.
Dear customer, incoming payment of 16,500 Rand on hold.
Yay.
Your account services and transactional limits have been temporarily disabled due to FICA requirements. Update FICA now with a link. I mean, you guys, just fuck off, all right? Whoever you are. Ugh. Delete. I swear I get 10 of those a day. It's just harassing. Leave Brittany alone.
Jeez.
All right, so we've talked about aliens. We've talked about mental health. How 4 out of 10 Americans.
I was expecting more.
You were in Gen Z. Is Gen Z that fucked up?
Yes.
Look at the environment.
Yes.
You saying that, Leigh-Ann? Straight up.
Yeah.
Look at the environment. Spend all your time on screens getting fed bullshit. Family structures have gone to shit. Mostly in one-parent households. No sport, minimal sex, and processed food.
Yeah. Right.
That's just top
and
of my head.
screens. Just screens.
Yeah.
And the majority of their socialized history was COVID.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
So they've got it tough.
There's a
So
massive
be nice to them when you see them out there.
Black hole in their
So when you meet
emotional
someone,
history.
if you meet someone in Gen Z, treat them with kid gloves.
No, just be respectful and know that they've gone through a terrible time. They have no reference for what's nice, so don't expect anything from them. It's another thing. People get upset about people. It's like, how do you think they're about to do something great or be good at something if their references are mostly shit? They're not worldly. Like, they're not tested. They're not interesting. You know, they haven't been given like a wealth of knowledge and things.
And they're not reading books or
So
Right,
you
please.
can't
Seeing
get upset
things.
with them.
What does that mean?
A Gen Z came across my desk and found a magazine, an actual printed magazine.
No.
And
You
was,
still have such relics?
and was trying to find
Were you
a
building
reference.
Were you building a time capsule for 1995?
was trying to find a reference in the middle of the magazine. And eventually I was annoyed by it and I went to the contents page,
Oh,
which
they
is
didn't
on
know what
page
that-
2 or 3 after the ads. And they said, oh, look, there's an index. Are they reading?
All right, I need you to do a mental health assessment on Flex. Have we got those clips, James? All right, we often talk about James and how useless and unbelievably inefficient he is. But I think that we've also got to cast a suspicious eye in Flex's direction. Did you know about this, Flex? No, I didn't think so. But you know, Flex does send some pretty weird shit. He sends me hilarious shit.
He's one of my funniest followers on social media. Like, that's it. That's the only way I can describe him.
What's
You
a
follow
funny
him.
follower?
No,
Does
he said
comment?
follows.
Oh, follows.
Ben follows him. So what kind of shit do you see?
Some of the funniest things on Instagram. It's always Flex-esque. Like, I don't even have to see the profile. I can just go, this is Flex.
Yeah. He's worth following. I mean, I laugh out loud sometimes. He'll send stuff over the weekend, for example. And I'll be like, this is fucked up. Play an example so that people get an idea of what we're talking about. So there's Stephen Hawking sitting in front of the stairs to heaven, and he is like, ah, shit. Okay, that's an example. Give us another one. There's this little kid sitting
your
there when
mum
your
is
mom is shouting at your sister. When your mum is shouting at your sister, and then she says, where's the other one who thinks he's Ronaldo? So there's some good shit. But you also, he sent you this thing of these black chicks fighting, Ben, that you were
No, I
telling
couldn't
me about.
find it.
Oh, damn it.
No, he doesn't send me anything. Flex now aren't that tight.
Oh,
I'm
right. You
I'm
just
following
follow him.
No, I'm not you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was so funny. There's just a whole bunch of black chicks fighting. And the caption is, there's not a loose top lip in the building. Because they're all... It's so hard to describe. You have to see it to realize how funny it is. But it's just...
All right, so we've got to keep an eye on him, basically.
But
It's,
listen,
it's
speaking
exciting.
of humor, I saw one of the funniest movie trailers ever yesterday. But we can't play it. We can't play it.
No, we can't. What is it? Did Jimmy Carr post this?
Yes.
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 It's a story about like some inbred
Farkham Hall.
Fuckham Hall.
Farkham Hall.
Right.
Farkham Hall.
Yeah.
And the fact that a good comedy has been created
Yeah.
and doesn't cross, well, it does cross PC boundaries, but they weren't scared to do it.
Right.
It's just, and it's so good. It's such good British humor.
It looks hilarious.
Yeah.
I saw it as well. That we must be on the same algorithm because
Yeah.
it popped up on mine. We'll see if we can find a clip, maybe play it at the end of the show for you. All right, so what do we got sports-wise to look forward to, Ben?
A lot, Gareth.
Tell me about it.
So much. Where do you want to start?
Rugby?
Okay, so the next 5 weekends, Bokke Saturdays.
Yeah, that's why
We're taking on Japan this weekend, which is hugely exciting because...
Oh, can I just say something about Japan?
Yeah, sure.
You probably didn't pick this up,
Okay.
but if you've seen anything online about Japan, apart from the Prime Minister visiting Donald Trump, and she's a woman who drives an old Honda Ballade from like the 1980s.
She used to be from the factory.
Yeah, she's from in my factory, except she was Shinto Abe's mentee. He was the guy who was assassinated. He was a big friend of Trump's. And she seems to be really, really good. I mean, she's one of those no bullshit people.
Well, she's stop the boats kind of chick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently, the Japanese, again, just to show you how I just love these people. I know I have nothing in common with them necessarily. I don't want anything from Japan. I'd love to go and travel there, but I am just blown away. They changed their flag in the last week or two. But you know what? It's the white flag with the
No
red
longer.
circle in the middle.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Easy flag. They made such tiny adjustments to the
Put a drop shadow in.
the proportions, the shade of red, the size of the circle, and they centered it exactly. But you wouldn't notice this unless you were a graphic designer. Tiny, tiny things. They didn't announce it, make a big fuss. Like every other country would go, "Well, we're changing the colors of our flag," and they'd come up with some shit that looked absolutely inelegant. But the Japanese just quietly like, doesn't look as good as it could. Let's improve this. They probably had, 30 people over the last year figuring out how to just make it that much better. I do love that about the Japanese.
But how many layers of submission does it have to go through? And
I don't know.
were those people like,
They
but
probably had
this
to get
looks the same?
They probably had to get the emperor to like sign off on. I don't know, but I just love that they went to that much trouble. So we're playing them.
Yeah, we are. Look, Japan's great. I could talk to you about Japan for hours and hours. I think it's a fascinating place. But yeah, we're playing Japan, and they did pretty well against the Wallabies last week. I think lost by 4 points. Eddie Jones has dirt on Japan because they keep giving him a fucking job. Eddie's done bugger all since he was with the Box in 2003.
He's quite unstable.
He is. He's actually one of those guys. He's like one of those drunk uncles where you catch Eddie on a good day. He's probably about. He says a couple of things that are very offside, and he drinks a bit. Has a bit of a go. Anyway, great guy. I think he's absolutely great for sport. So we're playing Japan, and we're playing at Wembley Stadium. So that'll be 6:10, slightly later than the usual game around sort of 5. So get your drinking accordingly. But amazing day because now all the major teams are playing for the next 5 weeks. So it's like this is probably the only time the Northern Hemisphere can feel like they're going to win a World Cup because everyone's playing in their turf. All the big teams are there. They don't get the sort of like the failure about getting knocked out of a tournament because their games are guaranteed. So it's an exciting time for them.
Okay, great.
And it's an exciting time for us because we get to go into tough conditions and it's always a bit of a hard fight. So England versus Australia, they'll be at Twickenham 5:10. Our game 6:10. Scotland are hosting America 20-8. And then Ireland are playing New Zealand at 10:10 in Chicago. So I know that sounds a bit weird, but this is how you make money. And Ireland have actually played at New Zealand and America a couple of times. So you've got the best teams in the world all playing on Saturday. Damn exciting. But another thing that's really interesting about the Bokke team right now is that they've gone for a battle-hardened, best of the best kind of team. But then Taite Prop, I mean, our props are the best in the world. We literally have the best props in the world. If Third Eye Atlas came over the world looking for props, they would literally stop on our latitude and longitude and extract our big beefy men. But a guy called Zachary Porthan's come in. He's 21 years old. He is One Big Boys High School's finest.
Okay.
He was playing like under 20s 2 years in a row, SA School's captain. He's 21 years old. And he's about to pack down in the greatest front row in world rugby.
Wow.
21. Not since Ollie LaRue bounced onto the field in 1994 against England has such a lighty been at the front row. So amazing. It really is amazing. And just amazing that Rusty can do this because our team is so good. Our structures are so good. This guy's clearly a future Bok captain. And they're giving him a go now.
I mean, he is going to be worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because when you spot talent, and obviously they've been watching him for years already, but you kind of have your future cut out for you there.
It is, but you look at him, he's 6'3", I think he is. He weighs 125 kilograms.
Yes.
He's not going to be in marketing.
Yes.
He's not going to be in marketing thinking about emotions. He's going to be the front of scrums, ducking oaks, and getting the ball back.
Yeah.
So it's great. I'd love to have a life that simple, actually. Purpose-driven.
That's good.
So, guys, football, we have to go into this because it's been a time for Liverpool. James's team is so dog shit right now. They've lost, James, 6 of the last 7. And the game you won was against some fucking sausage makers from Germany. Literally, like a mobile restaurant drove into Anfield and they got all excited. So it's absolutely panic stations for Arno Slot. He came in, expectations were low in the first season. He did well. He did really, really well. Choked it a bit in the Champions League, but they won the league. England's best team. They then went a bit dilly on the summer signings. They spent the bank on Oaks that have done bugger all since. And it's an interesting dynamic because Man United get mocked, but now Liverpool are getting mocked. And football's a tough place. It's a tough school, as they say. So currently in the league, Arsenal, favourites for the league, they're 22 points. They're out front. Bournemouth second on 18 points. It's a bit of a buffer there between 1 and 2. And then Liverpool are languishing. Now, you don't often use the word languishing in Liverpool, but I'm going to. They're on 15 points, 7th place. So this weekend, everyone's in action again, obviously. Crystal Palace, who love beating Liverpool. It's like it's their job. They've beaten James, the last 3 times in a row? Yeah, okay.
We know what James's team is. We know Flex supports only Orbits here in South Africa.
No, he's a Man United guy.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about his South African team because that's more famous than his support for Man United. But we haven't ever inquired as to whether Leigh-Ann has a favourite team. Is it Scunthorpe United? Is it Accrington Stanley?
No, I'm trying to remember the one. Usually whichever partner I have to adopt.
Bermondsey Limited.
No, what was it?
Spurs.
I think it's 2 words and something with an F.
Oh, Jesus. Nottingham Forest?
No. Little something.
Little Northampton. Try and figure out what Leigh-Ann's...
I've heard it before. I've heard James
clearly it
say
wasn't an
before,
important part of her life, but yeah.
Well, no, I've blocked that out.
Okay, so Saturday we've got Crystal Palace, Brentford. Big game.
Okay.
Brentford's just beaten Liverpool. That'll be at 5. Nottingham Forest versus Man United. Maybe these names are going to jog your memory there, Leigh-Ann.
There we go.
Nottingham Forest, Man United. Man United are resurgent right now. Oaks reckon they got a title charge in the works. Nottingham Forest, dog shit, but they got rid of Ange Postecoglou. That'll be at 5. Burnley are hosting Arsenal at 5. Spurs versus Chelsea. Chelsea at 7:30. And then Liverpool are taking on Aston Villa. So they can't catch a break right now.
Okay.
Aston Villa just beat Man City. That'll be at 10 o'clock on Saturday. So you got all this rugby on Saturday, all this football. And then Sunday, Man City versus Bournemouth at 6:30. Bournemouth are second on the log right now. They've only lost 1 game so far. Then in the PSL. So obviously CAF Champions League, all that Confederation Cup stuff. It's very difficult for the PSL to have momentum, play consecutive games.
On.
We always talk about this. Sundowns are top of the log, as you expect. They played 10 games, 21 points. Sekhukhune United, which might be the team, Leigh-Ann? No?
Is that your team? No.
They played 9 games
Going
for
through
20
lists.
points. And then Pirates have played only 8 games. They've got 18 points. So Pirates have got some games in hand over Sundowns, right? So they're 3 points back, but they've got an extra game in hand. So this weekend is so huge. Firstly, Durban City are taking on Kaizer Chiefs tonight. So that'll be at 7:30. But then Sundowns take on Pirates on Saturday at 3:30. So Saturday is, it's just such a big day of sport.
Wow. You're going to be
It's
up all day.
It's coming at you from all ends, basically, just like the abuse is for James and Liverpool.
And clearly, whoever pees in Leanne's toilets at home.
I mean,
all directions.
And then to go even further, Accrington Stanley right now. Now,
What's happening with
we
them?
know where they are. They're League 2, which is like the 4th division. Shithouse. They're
Accrington
again
Stanley.
just treading water on 21st position, just above the drop zone. Nothing changes with these
Are there a
oaks.
couple of old mums who like going to their matches at least?
You know,
Yeah, he wants a sandwich.
but what are they best known for? The FA Cup. So they're playing the first round of the FA Cup this weekend.
Is
They're
that what they're
away.
best known for?
They're best known for the FA Cup because then they get like some fairy tale game. They might play. They might get a win or a draw. So Accrington Stanley, because they're cuck, they're going to the first round. But then there's even more cuck teams that have played previously to get into the first round, like Gainsborough Trinity. Now these oaks are in like the Premier North or some shit.
Gainsborough.
Basically, it's like the
Trinity.
7th tier of English football.
Good heavens. How
They're-
deep does it go?
It goes deep. But these oaks are from Lincolnshire, Gainsborough Trinity, and they are taking on Accrington Stanley this weekend as well.
Sure.
Sunday, 7:15.
Do they have a chance, Accrington Stanley?
Yeah, sure, because
Okay, 'cause
they're
they-
League
'cause
4. These oaks are
right.
League 7.
These are like
So
dog
for
shit.
Gainsborough Trinity, this is a big game for them.
Yeah, I mean,
They
this
get to
could-
play against the might of Accrington Stanley. This is like a
Are these
celebrity.
is Gainsborough
shirt-changing.
Trinity basically a team of like
There's so
dads
many.
who go down a pub and then decide, "Aye, lads, why don't we start a football club of our own?" That kind of thing.
7th League is.
Bigglesway United, Billingham Town.
Yeah, we don't establish you're not going to.
What? There's so many.
You're now just using words.
She's making it up.
Bowl Hall Swifts.
No, you're talking
No,
shit.
that's.
Bovey Tracy.
Look, I mean, 7th division. It's obviously amateurish. It's pub.
Sure.
It's like, but it's still good. It's still good. I mean, the guys are still good at football. Like
Okay.
if you had to put them into
But they
that,
don't have a expensive coach and a
no, of
Chobham.
course not. No, of
Cho-
course
what?
Chobham.
Chobham. Is that your team?
CHOBHA.
Is that your team?
No, it's not.
Chobham. All right, stop, Leah.
Okay.
No,
Carry on, Ben.
they'll get changed in the car park.
Okay.
Same boots the last 3 seasons. No, I mean nothing fancy.
Okay.
Okay, so another massive thing for this weekend, Gareth. I don't know it's your favourite, so I've left it to the last. The Women's World Cup cricket.
Well, listen, I have said terrible things about women's sport of various kinds over the years because I find most of it extraordinarily dull. But as I said to you last week, and I watched again a little bit, there was a press conference. I didn't watch the actual match, but I saw one of our Frotiers.
So you're at the point now where you're watching press
I'm
conferences
watching the
too.
press conference, man. I'm almost on the verge of calling myself a fan. I won't go that far yet. Let's see how they perform.
Well, it's a good weekend for it because they did the unthinkable. So they got bundled out in that first game against England for like fuck all, like
Right.
69, 70, whatever it was. They then went into the semi-finals against England. England, brassy lasses. They're like,
They're called the Lionesses, right?
Yeah, sure.
See, I do know my stuff.
and they said, look, you tarts go bat.
Yeah.
And our chicks were like, fuck, okay, now we're going to show you. And did they show them? Laura Wolfhard scored 169, I think it was.
Sure.
Like, incredible. So 50 overs. You can understand like a T20 match here and there to try and maintain intensity. They scored 330, I think it was, whatever it was.
Huh.
Over that time, in the subcontinent, they've had batting collapses in the tournament, which has been their Achilles heel against the 2 best teams, England and Australia. And even in this game, after a really good start where they were no wickets down for over 100, they had a wobble in the middle order, but they just kept on. Marizanne Cup came in, she steadied the ship. Laura Wolfhard, as I said, she went all the way to the end. Then they got the ball and they bundled England out for nothing, basically. They just absolutely hammered them by 120-something runs.
Sure.
So they're in the final on Sunday. The Women's World Cup final, it'll take place 11:30 on Sunday. And then yesterday's game has been pitted as, well, been described as probably the greatest game in World Cup history. The Aussies, obviously the best, and they have been for so long because they grew up with men, and they're obviously very, durable. They set a huge score. They set 339 for India to chase. And the Indian women, they chased it. They got 341 for 5.
Shit.
Crowd was going nuts. Huge spectacle. Like the sports at a place now where screw this, we're better, we're just as good as the men bullshit. No, it's about your sport, about your moments, about you doing your thing. It's completely your time. No comparisons. We did this. You got screw it. As a standalone sporting spectacle, people are watching it. They care about it.
Well done. Well done.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah,
So
I think it's incredible that they've been able to generate the interest that they have around an event which ordinarily most people would just not pay attention
the
to.
Sunday 11:30. So you've got this entire Saturday where there's just too much sport.
Did you see the?
And then Sunday 11:30, you've got this final to watch.
Did you see the because they're doing advertising now, obviously during the course of this Frontiers or this Cricket World Cup, and during one of the matches, the commentator goes, and now we go to the this famous tea room, or the most successful tea in India, and they've got this whole setup, and there's two ladies sitting in there drinking tea.
I think that might have been the SA Pakistan game.
It was.
Yeah.
It probably was. And they got these two chicks sitting there drinking tea, and there's branding all over the place. And I'm like, all right, it's real. There's a big tea company is involved. I mean, then you know.
Yeah, different tournament. Well spotted.
Ipswich Town.
Nice.
Is that the shitty club that you used to support?
They were once in the
Town.
Premier League.
Ipswich Town. They made it. They made it once.
Oh, dreary.
They're now in like League 2 or something shit.
Yeah.
Zelna wants to know, Ben, how was Kruger?
Incredible. I had a good time. Yeah,
Did you get even more tanned?
maybe.
Did you take any impressive photographs?
Did you see any lions?
Yeah, a few here and there. I had a really funny experience with some buffalo.
What happened?
I was driving along this road, and there's so many game vehicles in Kruger. So this one in front of me, and now I can just see, like, normally when you see a few buffalo, good chance there's probably like 300 of them because they go, that's how they roll.
Huge big herd.
So I see all these buffaloes in the front, and like, cool, I love seeing buffaloes because they're very weird. And then there's this game vehicle in front of me, because I'm driving along by myself. And then she just pulls left to try to give the people on her car a chance to take a photo. But she drives like off the road, so now the car's stuck.
Oh,
Oh.
for fuck's sake. And she's a ranger?
Yeah. So the car is now stuck, and it's like the wheels just bobbing in the air. Okay,
Oh,
she's got no
no.
traction; she can't reverse.
Oh, for God's sake.
So I pull up in front, and she sees me, and she goes, "Can you help?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." But now the buffalo are 10 meters, but
Oh,
now
shit.
they are now like lining up. It's like all the buffalo basically. We got this like half moon of buffalo in front of me. So I get out of my car, look around, obviously take caution of where you are. Now the buffalo, every time I look to my right, there's more buffalo, there's more eyes on it.
They're all coming to check it out.
So now this woman has probably 6 tourists in her car, all foreign. And she's now like, I don't know what to do. I was like, don't worry, we'll sort it out. And I look at this thing, and the car is stuck. Like, it's stuck. And this is a fucking heavy
And
car.
it's not heavy with people in it.
And it's on a downhill, so we're going against gravity as well. So fortuitously, there was a whole bunch of rocks. So I was like, okay, cool. We're going to put rocks under the wheel, and then we're going to reverse it. So now me and her are like piling rocks. But all the buffalo are behind us. And again, I'm not joking. There is a 10-meter buffer between us.
Well, it's a buffalo.
It's a buffalo, Leigh-Ann. Well spotted. So then this other guy comes back with like a tow rope out of nowhere. He's like, well, maybe we can put a tow. She doesn't have a tow bar, nothing. So the wheels are now, there's a rock under the wheel. We've got a little bit of traction here. So then we asked the tourists to just get out of the vehicle to make it lighter. So they're like, there's fucking buffalo here. All around us now.
And even more have come.
But,
So now-
but buffalo won't attack.
Wow.
I know, but they are pretty aggressive animals once spooked. So we now
Well, at
have
this point, they're just
they're
interested.
very curious, super
Yeah.
curious. So I'm loving this.
They're like, check how this chick can't drive.
I'm loving this. This is fun for me. I mean, obviously, I'm in my Kruger outfits,
Yeah.
and now the tourists are now sitting next to the thing. The woman there says to me, "Here, take the keys, you drive." So now I get into her game vehicle, and now I'm going to rev this thing and destroy the clutch and get it out. And popped out pretty easy.
Huh.
So now all you can smell is clutch. There's now more buffalo, and they're now starting to stampede a little bit. So now there's like dust popping up because they want to get across. They're tired of our antics. They want to get across. The tourists thought it was a lot of good fun, so they gave it a bit of a clap. They're now back in the vehicle. I then walk the precarious 10 meters to get into my car, and now the buffalo are crossing.
Uh-oh.
So now, just for the next 15 minutes.
Is there proof of this?
Yeah, I got lots of. Yeah,
Because last time I'm just wondering, because last time you were putting out fires.
I proof that too.
He did. It seems like it's always a fucking wild time when you go with Ben to the Kruger
And now you're
Park.
rescuing rangers.
I'm there to
and
help in the
tourists.
Kruger. I'm only there to help in the Kruger. It's my happy place.
Okay.
And then for 10, 15 minutes afterwards, I just got to experience an entire buffalo crossing, which was so magical. And literally, again, because the car's behind, I'm here, they were crossing me like this.
And how many do you reckon were in this herd?
After 15 minutes, there was a gap, and I drove.
It's a lot of animals.
The guys from the other side wanted to get across. So as they drove, they were still deep on my left. There's just so many. It really was just. But every time you go to Kruger, there's something different. I like to go because I like to read, I like to eat vlees, and I like to wear tiny shorts. Just stare at fire. It resets me. It makes me happy.
It's your calibrator.
But when I got there was a massive boomslang in the tree by the pool.
Oh, wow.
So there's this proper boomslang. So every sandpark has a pool, you know.
Jesus. Those are not nice snakes to meet.
No.
So as I walk in, there's all this commotion because you hear all the birds going nuts. And there's about 6 other people. And there's this giant boomslang in this tree getting dive bombed by all of these birds.
Oh,
for
wow.
But chill, just watch it. It's all happening. Boomslang comes down, kids run away, finds a little hole. Guys, I mean, look, for me,
That's great.
It's
I love it.
I have so much fun when I do these things.
Chade says, Ben, you should come down to our place in the Greater Kruger. We could do a trail walk.
Cool.
Although this does sound like a potential dodgy person.
I don't fear anything. Yeah, cool. Drop me a DM.
Slippery Pickle says, Buffalo are like boardroom executives. None of them know how to get the car out of the ditch, but they all want to watch.
They all did, and it was really funny. Just so many heavy eyes.
Casey Kung says, Ben's hair is looking great.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's getting there.
Well done.
Thanks.
Oh. All right. Ass, do you have somewhere to go?
Oh, is it that time?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what
You gotta
time
get
it
back
is
to-
because you
It is
couldn't even
true. You
wake
gotta
up
get
on
back to the
time for the
marketing
show.
room.
Not a minute longer.
Yeah,
She's off to have a stiff whiskey to start her Friday
she has to go do more marketing.
Yeah, she's going to be marketing and drinking for the rest of the day. That's the plan. All right. How are you going to help with your car, says Bitcoin But. Well, I mean, you heard how he helped. And that's very insulting. I don't know what you drive, Bitcoin But, but how do you know what Ben does? Maybe because you've been here at the studio once.
No, I bought bread from him once.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but
Okay.
But it's a ball to drive to Midrand.
But it's nice of you to support him, and then he makes fun of you
Yeah, you can get
with
fucked.
your car. Well, fuck him, huh?
I mean, look, he
the end of that.
does make the best bread in the world, but it's just a fucking mission to go drive and chats and stuff.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about fuck you money, because you sent this thing to me yesterday, so you can explain where this comes from.
So people think fuck you money as in they never get to work ever again. They want to fly helicopters and do stupid shit, right? And have tigers and stuff. But there's levels of fuck you money that I think we can all take lessons from. Because there are people who hate their jobs and they stay in their jobs because they can't leave.
Right.
So what that does is that it never forces you to try something different or maybe even follow a passion or pursue something that you're good at or learn new skills, because you haven't got the ability to say fuck you for a month or 6 months or a year in order to get that. So basically you never get away. So you've got to have a fuck you buffer to pursue something you like to make a change.
Yeah.
So you're going to work it out. What is your fuck you money 1 month? Everyone should have that at least in their bank account. What's your fuck you money for 6 months? As in, you can tell your boss, fuck you, and you're fine for 6 months.
There's not a lot of people.
And what is it for a year?
In South Africa, I don't know that there are even, maybe there are a couple of thousand who can
tiny,
who
sure.
have a 6 month fuck you budget. But I do think it's sensible to have this. I mean,
yeah, but the reason why we have to call
people are living from hand to mouth.
The reason why we have to call it the fuck you thing, because we get lost in this dream that we'll become billionaires. That doesn't happen. And if it does, it's like 0.001%. But we need to bring it down to like a base level of like, what is it that can change our lives? You can change your life in like 2 months. You really can.
Sure.
You can do different things, but you need to know what that buffer is. So, like, I've got an idea in my head. Although I'm not a salaried, I've never earned a salary from someone, so to speak. I work in silos of different things and collaborate with people. But there's people who have jobs they hate, and they have to know that they should be able to say fuck you to that.
Yeah, Janice at the accounting firm, who just sent me a message now. She's like, I can't fucking stand this accounting firm. I can't wait to get out. But she can't do anything.
So
She's got bills.
So I mean, yeah, like I'm always curious. Do people know what that monthly figure is? And then if you were to times that by 12.
Janice has just replied and said, "Yes, Ben, I do." I do know what that number is.
It's a useful thing. So in America, there was this sort of like reference that was then put out.
Mm-hmm.
This is where your producer will
James,
then produce a screen.
Play the clip.
Yeah, he's got it there.
Oh, here's the number. Okay, so what is fuck you money? Monthly expenses, the time for fuck you, and then fuck you money needed.
So this is the reference put out there. Okay, so the average sort of like monthly expense, the monthly fuck you is what, like 40,000 rand?
Yeah,
that seems very low to me.
It depends. You've got to remember the average salary in South Africa is between 6,000 and 8,000 rand a month.
Yeah.
Average,
I totally get that. But
So-
I was thinking, so to use the thing, so it's not about so much a salary. It's like, what are the things that you need to survive?
Oh, right.
Without
So in other words, you
losing
work it
any-
out from expenses, not
So
from
you
income.
work out for what your life costs,
Right.
and that's what it must be. But for an American thing, does seem quite low. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I just thought it was interesting to put it as a reference, because then, if you needed the fuck you money for a year, what that would then equate to.
Well, I mean, there they go up to 8 months, which is substantial. $72,630 is the kind of need, the requirement for fuck you for that long.
Well, if your expenses are 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's a really, really important activity to do in your life, to have these numbers in your head. Because you need to take chances, you need to take risks at some stage, right?
I think that there are some people who are very adventurous and curious and want to maximize their experience without the encumberment of fear. And most people are encumbered by fear. And most people will always choose the safe option. The rare people you find who would take the chance to say fuck you and survive for as long as it was necessary in order to have the adventure of a lifetime, those are a rare breed of people. Most people are not, they don't just stay because they hate their jobs and they need the money. They also stay because they fear not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And remember, the human brain, experts like Dr. Hanan can speak to this with far more alacrity than I can. But the human brain is at its worst when it cannot figure out the future. That's when you get depressed. That's when you get nervous. That's when you get unhappy.
That's the
If
difference
you
between
can
distress and
figure
stress.
out, if you have clarity, this is something that can, if I'm sure most of the people listening to us and watching us this morning know this already, but if you're ever stuck and someone gives you clarity, this is what's likely to happen. This is how things are going to go. Here are some ideas about what could unfold next. That immediately puts you in a happier state than
Totally.
not knowing. Not knowing is the worst. So humans would prefer a bullshit conspiracy theory concoction than not knowing.
Well, some people makes a big deal about getting closure,
Yes.
because it's like
Yes.
tying knots.
You want to know. Once you know, the brain is then satisfied that it can figure out a plan based on what it knows, and it gets to work doing that stuff.
It's like deleting an email.
Correct.
That's exactly it.
That's right. If you don't know, if you sit there going, oh, I hope I don't get an email from this person, and I hope these kinds of emails don't come through today, you're just creating the conditions for misery.
Turmoil, yeah.
Yeah, because you cannot predict it. It's a stupid thing to sit and fuss over. I got a voice note from a friend of mine, and I haven't heard from her for months, and then she sent me a long voice note.
Oh, the worst.
No, but what was interesting is she was umming and ahhing about this thing that she'd promised to do for her dad. She's got kids of her own now, and this thing was taking up so much of her time because she was worrying and trying to come up with a plan for this thing, when all she really needed was just to do it. If she just did it, she would have avoided months of anguish that's self-imposed. Because again, the brain didn't want to commit to a solution. The brain didn't have clarity on what to do. And she put herself through unnecessary anxiety as a result of not being able to come to a decision. So, self-imposed prison. Why do it?
Exactly.
Makes no sense at all. I took a risk a few years back, says Metallic Power, and basically lost 500,000 Rand.
And what did you learn?
Those are expensive school fees. I'm willing to take another risk, but it's going to be I'm going to be way more cautious if I do it again.
Yeah, you'd be better at it. You know, no one ever just wins their first rodeo.
No. I mean, if you look at these great business people, and you know, you mentioned risk taking and fuck you money. But this is another thing that's come up in conversation for me in the last week or two, is that the number of people who are prepared to do in a business sense what is risky, vanishingly small number. And, you know, people complain about how all the entrepreneurs seem to be a certain kind of personality. And why aren't there more people like this or more people like that who are entrepreneurs? That is because most people choose the safe option.
They choose to survive. It's a big survival instinct.
You know, if you go back, I hate to bring up COVID because it's a depressing thing to think about, and it's now 5 years later. But if you think about the kind of people who were willing to give up everything to be safe, which is also a risk, but you're choosing the safe option there. And you remember the stay safe, stay home people, right?
Yeah, mongs.
Those people will never be entrepreneurs.
No.
If you were one of those people who put on your mask diligently every day and you never left your house and you washed your hands when they brought groceries to your door and you were terrified about this virus for weeks. I'm not talking about in the beginning. I'm talking about end of 2020. You were still nervous about COVID. You will never be an entrepreneur. You will never be a success in any way other than what you're already living in. This is the best it's going to get for you.
Yeah.
You won't, because you're terrified of the world. The world is supremely upsetting to you, and you have no idea of how to take a risk. Risk is your enemy, so you will never know.
Yeah, you got to have that balance between just tweaking a few things and then just getting on with it and repeating. Like I was in the entrepreneur space, which was terrible. It aged me hugely. And it's so toxic because you get people who just, they realize that the way they get attention is through ideas. It's like, another idea. Fuck, okay, well, there's a waste of 5 minutes of my life I'm not going to nod to.
Right.
So there's also that other side where you just become addicted to that, which is also, it's just problematic. It's not having anything.
I mean, you get these people who are constantly in innovation mode.
Yes.
And they never get to building.
It's like people who are constantly studying.
Yeah.
Serial
Same
academics.
thing.
You know, okay, well,
Very
when
bad.
you're applying this to the workplace where you can make a difference.
Very bad.
Add value.
Here's an interesting story. Barely Vocal Radio says, I resigned and withdrew my pension to help start my business. Well, I hope it's worked out for you, dude. I mean, that's great. The number of people who will talk about their failures, much, much smaller than the number of people who want to talk about their future successes, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know about you, but we joked about these motivational people last week and these guys who are online with their shaved heads, and their testosterone and their steroids, and they're amping up other people to do this stuff. The proof is in the pudding. Everybody who shows me a screen online in their feed and says, "Oh, made these trades today. It's phenomenal." I just don't believe you.
It's massively irresponsible as well
It's
because
like people who show their cash. If you show cash on Anybody who shows money on social media, you're a fucking idiot. Because SARS are watching as well. And you think they're not going to see that? Who are you trying to impress with 200 Rand notes? Kind of, what is that for?
I saw something funny. I forget where I saw it now, but it's like people who make money through day trading are selling courses, not through day trading. Actually, no, it was a radio ad the other day I listened to.
That's no.
I mean,
radio.
I was actually give it credit because no, it was a financial institution.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, radio's cuck, but this ad was really good and it was funny and it was smart. It was from like an established institution. I just forget what it's called now. And the thing that it was really funny. He said, "You never notice how like day trading is not day trading. You're up at night and you're up at early hours of the morning, and you're never making money while you sleep. And the people who tell you that they aren't making money through day trading. They're making money through selling you a course about day trading."
Yeah.
This is exactly it. I was like, wow, this is just a smart radio ad.
That's excellent. That is good.
Anyway, the moral of the story was do conventional things with your money.
And build a fuck you money account.
Yes, build it up. It takes time. All these things take time.
It's not going to be easy, but at least it'll give you that cushion. And then, I don't know if you're excited about this, but Johannesburg, we have water leaks all over the place. We have the shittiest municipality.
I had no power this morning.
Yeah, there are still streets that are in the CBD that are torn up, apparently. No power. Some places don't have water. So it's great. But there is a Walmart coming to Clearwater Mall. What a great place to launch Walmart, by the way.
Just build ourselves up from the bottom, huh?
Right? So the West Rand wins again.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Honestly, the West Rand is the front man of our band in Johannesburg because it's rough and tough and can handle anything.
So I've always wanted to know this
Clearwater
because
Mall.
Doesn't Walmart own Game and Macro?
They own Macro. Yeah,
Massmart.
Massmart. Yeah, Massmart is the South African.
So what's different? Like, how is Walmart going to be different to Macro?
Well, you don't have to wear shoes, and you can go there in your curlers and your dressing gown.
Yeah, you can do that to Macro as well.
You can smoke in the aisles, I think.
Look, I find this fascinating because mostly I don't shop, so I'm not a big shopper.
James, what do you know about Walmart? No, Macro is owned by Walmart. Other way around.
But no,
Yes.
like, are we going to get products we've never seen before? Like magical things, like 20 packs of things, and
All that hasn't that stuff been done?
I mean, James, I'm pretty sure you can go buy like 20 monsters for like $100.
So, in other words, it's going to be such bulk you'll need to borrow a bucky.
Because I think we should go on a show visit. You know, like we do fuck all as a
That's
team
a
right
good
here.
idea.
We
Yeah.
haven't built this team in forever.
Although it is far to Clearwater Mall.
That's the joy, though. We'll get in James's dirty car and flex you in. We'll go. I'm sure they've got an Orbit FC jersey in there as well. I reckon we should do that. We should give ourselves a goal, right?
All right.
We each get 300 rond.
Okay.
What can we go buy at Walmart?
And
Let's
who
go make
wins?
a-
The one who has the shittiest things.
Well, we can produce our bounty on the show the next week.
Very
and then
good.
we
A
get
big
judged.
reveal.
So we go, right, what did you do at $300?
I think you could get quite a lot for $300 there.
I think let's
Is
do
it open already?
No, it's coming.
Oh, well, then we've got to wait a
I
bit.
don't know. I'm not a Walmart spokesperson. I just know it's coming.
Walmart owns Massmart 100%. This will be an actual Walmart store, but it's not going to be but it's going to be very underwhelming, says Carl DeSantos. It's going to be the same old shit. I just think everything, it used to be exciting when you'd go to shops and you'd see things you'd never seen before.
So that was always the thing when the big shops came to this country, because obviously there was the isolation.
Now you've
apartheid.
got the internet. You can find anything.
Anything online.
So this is not exciting. Apparently, Game is being replaced with mini Walmarts, says Bitcoinbit. And then I live in a pretty good neighborhood. The Walmart's always full of sketchy people, says Christiana. Assume you're in America. There's that account, I think it's an account on Instagram, where they show all these like hicks who go shopping at Walmart.
It's a genre of content. It's like
Pretty scary.
they go to Target or wherever else they go in America.
Yeah. No, it's not the greatest. The big dog is Massmart. Okay, so is Massmart then owned by Walmart? 100%.
Yes, because Walmart's the big international company.
Yeah. Correct. That has been a juggernaut. I think the family that started it
Yeah, the Walton, was it?
There are, I don't know how many of them there are, but they're all like multi-billionaires. Just selling shit to people.
On scale, huge mess.
Just selling like just shelves of
Just tons
shit.
of shit at good price.
So we're going to do that. We're going to do we reveal our bounty, as you put it.
Guys, I really reckon we go in there and make it happen.
You can set up your caravan at a Walmart parking lot. Hopefully they don't include this here. Yeah, apparently in America there are like, listen, there are homeless people all over. Even in Washington, they've got a major homeless problem. In D.C.
City or state?
In Washington, D.C. The whole of Washington state is just a super liberal. Did you hear about all this non-controversial shit about Trump building a ballroom?
No?
In the east wing of the... Okay, so Trump, he's mad about construction. They even interviewed him the other day, and while they're interviewing him in the White House, or it's a press conference or something, you can hear the construction going on in the background. He goes, listen to that. It's music to my ears. I just love the sound of construction. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful sound. He is building... He says at his own cost, but he's putting in some of the money. He's getting donors to help with the rest, but it's not public money. It's not taxpayers' money. I don't know how long it's been since any president or prime minister in the world used even a cent of their own money to pay for some public building to be improved. I think this is the first time in probably 20, 30 years.
Oh, well, career politicians are only on the take.
Correct.
They'll never think of this.
Correct. Anyway, he's doing this. People like Whoopi Goldberg on The View, all the pundits on MSNBC, all the usual suspects, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, all of these people are losing their shit. They're like, oh, he's destroying the White House. He's destroying a national monument. He has no respect. First of all, he's not destroying it. He's improving it. The White House has been improved hundreds of times through history. It was built in the late 1700s. Only the second president and his wife started living there, James Adams, right? And Mrs. Adams, or Dolly Madison, I think it was, the third president's wife, had to run out of there. She cut the George Washington portrait out of its frame, and they ran because the British bombed with rocket fire and set fire to the White House. So it burnt out completely during the third president's term. They've built the West Wing. The West Wing's only been there since the early 1900s. I think it was Teddy Roosevelt who built the West Wing. So it's 125 years old, maybe. The actual building in the middle, the one that we all know from the photographs and the pictures, that's the residence. That's been there since the late 1700s. But everything else is new. Nixon put in a bowling alley underneath. Obama changed the tennis court into a basketball court. Various presidents have built things. I think Ronald Reagan built a cinema in there. So they're always adding their own little thing. But every other president has spent state money. This one is spending his own money and donors' money. And they're building this huge big ballroom in the west, the East Wing. Now, the East Wing is not important. The East Wing is basically where visitors go. The First Lady has her office there on the first floor of the East Wing. Nobody really cares.
Melania, they're flogging handbags.
Melania, I don't think she goes there. I don't go to office. Why bother with office? I don't think she fucking... But every other president's wife has an office there. And then they do a food program for fat kids, or they help with drug addicts, or whatever their cause is. Every First Lady has a cause. And people are losing their shit. The very people, by the way, who never lose their shit when a statue gets torn down. The very people who couldn't care less when a national monument is desecrated by protest.
Loses attention, though, because we know Donald Trump could feed a homeless child and he'll be called something. He cannot ever do anything right, and it's not even worth commenting anymore. It's not even funny to take the piss out of these people. They're just worthless losers.
I don't understand that they have such hypocrisy going on. There are two completely opposing ideas swimming in their heads at the same time.
Yeah, but
oh, you can't touch the White House. It's the people's house. It's not your house. This is what they're saying. And if he's building a ballroom, he obviously intends staying forever. Every president has added something to the White House, so they have no idea of history. These people do not read books.
It always comes back to Gareth. The thing is, they never ever this is how you identify a retard. They have no idea of history, no appreciation for it, no knowledge of it, no understanding of comprehension, basically, of like, oh, so that's what happened.
Well,
Dionysus.
they've got one version. They've read a thin book, or someone has told them something.
Picked up a headline of someone else's narrative that day. That's the most important thing in their lives because their lives aren't important.
When Hillary posted about it and said, oh, look at the destruction happening at the White House, someone immediately commented and said, your husband got blown in the Oval Office. Please don't talk about respect for national monuments.
Yeah,
Shut up, Hillary. Crooked Hillary.
exactly.
Why does she keep having to join in? Has she not had enough? She ran once against Trump and got beaten soundly. She was a terrible candidate. She was a bad Secretary of State when she was the Secretary of State with that whole Benghazi situation, Libya. All of that happened under her watch. The emails, which she was deleting like a fucking crook, running around, delete, like I delete these Standard Bank hoax emails. Crooked Hillary should shut up. She should go and relax in the woods in wherever they are in Westchester, New York, and just be quiet. She should mind her own business. She and Bill have made a lot of money. They've got Chelsea married. They don't have to worry about a damn thing now. They can sit at home.
That last part was the biggest achievement.
I know. Who could believe that they could find a husband for Chelsea? But they should just quietly enjoy their retirement. What is wrong with some people? They can't go away when it's time for them to get away.
Tension's oxygen for so many people.
Fucking Hillary. She'll go to the opening of an envelope. You could invite Hillary on this show and she'd probably come. Don't want her here. We've got Leigh-Ann. Why would we need Hillary?
Might get stuck in the Catherine Street bus lane and walk in half an hour late.
Oh, it's such a mess. Did you see the thing they were doing? I think it was last Wednesday, the dress rehearsal for the G20. These motherfuckers.
That's now, hey, November.
Yeah, but I mean, who cares? I really don't care about the G20. So,
As we said from the beginning, Gareth, only people who care are the machoshas who are now going to get serviced with currency. They're going to be charging dollars, huh? They don't fuck around with this third world rand bills. They'll be dollars.
So they had all the Metro police out in Johannesburg last week. I think it was last week, or it could even have been Monday or Tuesday. I don't know. Anyway, I noticed that there were a lot of these guys at every intersection, on every off-ramp and on-ramp. They were suddenly everywhere to be seen. I didn't even know we had that many Metro police people in Johannesburg. But for what? For the it's not even the G20, it's the G19 because America's not coming. They couldn't be bothered. Trump is like, I'd rather build a ballroom in the White House than go to South Africa. And Cyril he thinks this is the biggest thing because it makes him look good.
Well, of course.
So he's invited all these people here. Some will come. It's like, it depends who issues the invitation. If Xi Jinping or Donald Trump or Narendra Modi, whatever his name is, the three of them issue an invitation, people are likely to come. If it's Emmanuel Macron, Keir Starmer, Meloni of Italy, 70% will come. If it's Cyril, 25% will come.
And the ones that come won't be like A team.
They're coming for the free food.
Yeah.
You know those people who at corporate events, they pitch up and they go straight to the food and the drinks they help themselves. And then, because they're such peasants, they also help themselves to extra and put it in their bag or whatever and try to skive some of it away. Those kind of people are the key. They're the people who will come to Cyril's parties. So we're going to have to provide extra food. The machoshas probably on our account.
Guys, it's
I'm sure
only
that Cyril's
benefiting
paying
the machoshas. Yeah. And all the journalists are going to swoon around and take pictures of handshakes and smiles and all this shit about emerging nations. Guys, we've seen this movie all fucking day already. Doesn't do anything. Oh, and
are these street machoshas or hotel machoshas?
Well, they're the ones who've already got deals with the hotels. They know where to go. Dude, don't knock a machosha's operating modus operandi here. They're not just all summer on West Road South. They're not all by my fucking apartment in Red Road either. These ones, you know, like when we had the FIFA World Cup in 2010, if you wanted to have accommodation, you had to register, so you had
Yes.
a plaque. And I reckon Machoshas, they probably got like lanyards. This is how.
Oh, so they're organized.
I reckon G20 issues Machosha lanyards, so that when you go to a bar afterwards, you're like, lanyard? Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You got a red lanyard, which means this is the services you offer.
Look, if
Blue
the
one means different services.
if the G20 was honest, Cyril opening address would go, right, blah, 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 trade industry, I'm going to ask for money, I've got massive hands. And then obviously, please only use G20 affiliated Machoshas. They'll be the ones in the red heels with the red lanyards. Obviously, yes, thank you.
We've supplied the shoes and the lanyards.
Yeah, so red heels,
Taxpayers,
red
yeah.
lanyards. Otherwise, Street Machosha, don't go there. Use Street Machosha after the official date of G20 in the
Well,
G20 time period.
Maybe
Official.
because the G20 is such a non-event and most of us will be bored with it, let's create our own reason to take an interest. Why don't we ask people who watch and listen to the show to send us pictures of the increase in Machosha activity? In other words, sneak a picture as you drive past them or whatever. Send us pictures. Let's see if they're wearing the lanyards maybe.
Well, we'd have to go to
Santon.
the bars itself.
No. I think you'll see them on the streets as well.
No, but the affiliated ones going to the
Oh, you
bars
mean
and
the smarter
hotels.
ones, right?
Gareth, I just gave the
The
opening
classy,
address.
yeah, the classy call
Street
girls.
Machoshas,
Yeah, sure.
no. Affiliate Machoshas, they
No,
go
you
to
can't
the
take pictures of
establishments.
them then in public. That would be odd.
I've got a small camera I can put on my body. Dude, you go to the Santon Intercontinental, or I'm not going to. I don't want to implicate people because I'm just guessing here. But you go to these main hotels at certain times, go to the bars.
Apparently, according to Carl DeSantos, you know the Beatles song "She's Got a Ticket to Ride"? That's about prostitutes who've been tested and are safe. They were given a lanyard. Well, they weren't given a lanyard, but it's the same concept. So, have you got a ticket to ride?
If we were an honest G20, that's what a host should do.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
You know those Europeans, they're like,
Yeah, that's true. They're health conscious.
no, I'm saying they're like the African woman.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to Slippery Pickles, South African taxpayers cannot afford World Economic Forum Machoshas. Yes, we can. In fact, you'd be surprised how much we can afford in this country. Have you seen the billions that have been stolen in the last couple of weeks by those Kat Matlala and that other dude?
Yeah, what's happening with that? It's like,
I don't know. Who knows?
is it going to fizzle out like the
Who knows?
Zondo?
All I know is we've got lots of money to throw around. And if we spend a little bit of that on, pleasing the Europeans with some machoshas, maybe the Chinese delegation will like that as well, although they're kind of all business.
Yeah, but the Chinese are a bit more, they're not into
All business.
I don't think they're into the sort of the local fare, to put it that
Oh,
way.
really? Yeah. Well, maybe. You never know. Do you think that there are other businesses that will benefit from the G20? Because it's pretty much just machoshas.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, when the machoshas get paid, they go to the designer stores. So it's the
There's
sort
a
of
knock-on effect.
the domino effect of Machosha trade because they need to look good. So yeah, if you've got a fashion boutique or
You'll do
Yeah.
well, especially if you sell clear heels and that kind of thing.
yeah, clear heels are more like a 10 years ago kind of thing here. It's more East
What do
Rand.
they wear now? I don't know. I don't live on your street. I don't see them
No, I
plying
mean,
their
look,
trade.
I think Machoshas are very up to trend. They have to be because they need to present
The best.
the best of what's out
sure.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Brigitte Macron coming? Because he loves machoshas. Says Coin Points.
See?
Brigitte Macron. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. If Emmanuel Macron lands here and gets kicked down the stairs, then Brigitte's here as well.
I mean, I'd love to know if anyone could tell us what the G1020 is other than servicing the prostitute industry.
Honestly,
I would.
I've seen ads on the side of the road that are obviously paid for by us as well.
Yeah, because this whole thing
but
is
I
like
do not know, and I don't know how it benefits anyone in South Africa. Maybe somebody in the comment
it's a
section
big
can
backslapping
give me
load
the
of bullshit.
But give me the best generous assessment of what it could mean. I don't want you to be cynical. I want you to say this is what it could deliver for us, because I haven't heard a good argument to this effect.
So for my
All I know is it's going to cost us a lot of money.
yeah,
America's not coming, so we miss out on probably the greatest deals.
But that's what it is, right? It's essentially country networking. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So our whole thing is that then we say fucking cut and paste marketing shit like the G20 is all about inclusivity and collaboration and everyone's the same.
Yeah, it's
blah,
a
blah,
talk
blah.
shop. It's a talk shop.
Okay,
the last
so-
one was in Rio, wasn't it? Yeah.
Or whatever it is. And then people come together and they go, cool, we'll drop this tariff or, yeah, we'll buy your carrots or fuck, whatever it is.
Okay,
That's
so,
my understanding.
so the official G20.org site says, the Group of 20 is an international forum of both developing and developed countries which seeks to find solutions to global economic and financial issues.
Okay, so there's going to be breakaway areas, workshops.
Yeah, but it's
Guest
these are
speakers.
people who are these are not productive people. With fairness, again, I want to try and give the best possible chance for this thing. Let's imagine we're paying for it anyway. We might as well know what we're paying for. These are not people who produce anything. They don't make a thing. They don't sell a service. They are on the taxpayer's dime. They don't have to generate revenue or a profit. In other words, they are a drain on, an expense on an economy, not a value add.
Yes.
Okay, that's clear. They're going to get together in rooms, which are going to be appointed, rented, serviced with tea, coffee, drinks, food, whatever.
Those tiny endearments.
There's tiny little endearments. All of that shit's going to be laid on
Single-use plastic.
at our cost.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've got here they are: Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, the UK, and the US.
So, and they all come together and they're all going to do that sort of like, Cyril's so great, blah,
They
blah,
pose
blah.
for a photo.
Pose for a photo, but, he's hosting. Like when you get invited to a house party, you
I
don't
love
know,
your house.
and like the person, you're going there because there's going to be chicks and there's going to be booze, right?
Correct.
So then it'd be nice to the guy whose house it is, even though you think he's a prick.
Right.
And that's what the G20 is. So another thing I would like to see from the G20 is really creative protests. So the G20 is here, Cyril's the host. Just have people to say, like, guys, Cyril's useless. Let's just like stand outside these big
Well, you want to know what
auditoriums.
here's what they're doing this week, because it's already started. Some of the smaller working groups and breakaway groups. So here, and I'm trying to give them a little shot at this. So today, they're meeting on the empowerment of women, a working group ministerial meeting.
So when I was in Fan Court in June, there was G20 stuff already happening there at Fan Court. People from around the world flying into George, they're already doing these little talk things.
Nice to do in fan court, huh? Again,
Great.
if you don't have to worry about the cost because the taxpayers are paying.
Awesome. No, I just think that if South Africans want to get involved, we must protest. Like, Cyril, why is your nephew buying 2 Lamborghinis with hospital money?
4.
4, sorry.
On the 5th, that is next week, they're doing the 7th Health Working Group meeting. Doesn't that sound like a lot of bullshit to you? 7th Health. Then on the 6th, they're doing the Health Working Group Ministerial meeting. It's obviously a follow-on.
This is basically just meetings.
Unbelievable. I think that part of getting into politics is you get free trips, free accommodation, and food
totally.
and drink. That's all they're into. They're no different than those friends who pitch up at a house party and eat all the food, drink all the drink, burp, fart, don't say thank you, and fucking won't leave. That's what they're like. It seems to me that this is the whole point of getting into politics, is you just crane your neck every second for freebies.
Yeah.
All I can say is I wish them luck. I am not excited yet about the G20, but I assure you I will do a lot of research around this in the next few weeks. There are trade and investment discussions. Gayton McKenzie was talking about Mandela's lessons. I mean, that's 25 years ago, but okay. Cultural heritage and climate change taking center stage. By the way, Bill Gates has jumped off the climate change bandwagon. Did you see that this week? Yeah. Big news. Bill Gates, everyone's favorite weird, creepy turbo nerd, who was the guy who was telling us that cow farts were about to commit us all to doom. right? Bill Gates. Bill Gates, who was saying, well, we've got to be very careful about eating meat. He was going to grow fake lab meat, get us all eating soy, cockroaches, whatever it took. Remember that, Bill Gates? Mm-hmm. Well, this week he came out with a statement that he does not believe that the climate or the changes in the climate or anything humans are doing to the climate means our impending doom. He's done a 180-degree turn on this. Check me. Google it. Make sure that you don't just listen to me. Find out for yourself. Because saying what Bill Gates is saying now would have got you canceled 5 years ago. Saying what Bill Gates, who's been the biggest climate change advocate, he's been a massive supporter of every government intervention to try and change the way that the climate is supposedly changing. He's been on the Greta Thunberg bandwagon. He's been one of those people talking about carbon emissions. He's been one of those people talking about global warming before that. He was on this for years. He's just turned 180 degrees on this. How come, while I was saying, and other people were saying 5 years ago, this is bullshit, we got unbelievable amounts of shit for it, and Bill Gates is getting away with changing his mind like this? I would like to have an I told you so, please. I'll wait.
Yeah, but those don't happen because we still haven't got them from COVID.
There's so many other things. So much nonsense.
But this is the thing, right? It's like G20. It's like, okay, what's the crap that we should be talking about to make us look virtuous? And it's the same old shit over and over by these supposed do-gooders. And all it is put into a platform.
Well, if you'd like to, you can follow G20 social media. It's just a bunch of pictures of ministers from what I can see. There we go. So it's just ministers.
See, it's flags, it's suits, it's like...
It's the same old,
same old. Big show.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a show nobody wants to watch. It gets the most budget.
Well, if you want to follow them, they're all over social media, apparently. And
but I look forward to updates where it's groundbreaking deals are made.
There won't be any.
New frontiers
Forget
are pushed for the betterment of... I look forward to it.
Forget about it.
I look forward to it.
Ben. All right, Ben, thank you very much for joining us this morning. You
Gareth,
can
have a wonderful weekend.
follow Ben, and don't forget to follow his show on The Bounce, which you
Guys,
can catch
sure,
here
big-
on The Real Network.
Big one this week. You got to watch it. We recap all of October. So much in there. Kate Nockware, Sandile Shangasi together. And next Saturday, do you want to go watch rugby?
No,
It's France.
no, but I'll meet you afterwards for a drink.
Well, the game's at 10, so I was thinking a night out in Pretoria.
Okay, done.
I'm not going to fucking face your face onto the screen. We're just going to be around other people having fun.
I just don't know how to do that. But okay, I'll try.
It's going outside, Gareth, with other
I'll
people.
try. All right, Ben, thank you. Have a good weekend. No adventures this weekend?
Playing golf today, which I'm massively excited about. And then tomorrow playing golf again. And then it's the Bokke.
That's
Go to
enough.
bench warmers.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Guys, big weekend.
You've had a hell of an October. All right, there we go. Ben Karpinski, a little bit of sports, a little bit of everything else. Oh, cheers, Ben. Just walks right across the fucking shot. Between him and Leigh-Ann, I just don't know how this works. All right. You will know the name Craig Wilkinson. He has been on the show a number of times. He's an author, speaker, and he's a mentor. He's dedicated to redefining modern masculinity. You know this is true because you've heard him before. His new book is called Force for Good, and it was published by Penguin, and it's coming out this November. It introduces the six-pack inside, which I think is such a great idea, of movement inspiring men to build strength through purpose, integrity, and emotional growth, becoming positive forces in their homes and their communities. I give you credit, Craig, for picking up on what is probably South Africa's biggest social ill. It's not inequality, it's not poverty, it's not racism, it's not the fact that we can't find jobs, unemployment. It is that young men don't turn into stable older men who can provide a backbone for society. We're a country that relies very heavily on women to be the breadwinners and or the only person at home looking after the kids. And we know that this is a major problem. I don't want to go over old territory, but I do want to give you credit for having identified this problem long ago. How are you?
Very good, thanks, Gareth. Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice
excellent.
to see you,
Yeah,
man.
good to be here.
Good. So first of all, well done on the new book.
Thank
Force
you.
for Good. Hold it up. Let everybody
Did
see
you get
that.
a copy? I sent one to you.
I did. Thank you very, very much. There it is. Force for Good. And there you can see the author is the same guy, so it's not Fong Kong. All right. Now, where do we get this book? Let's get that out of the way straight up front because people might want to do that immediately.
All good bookstores. We're having 3 launches with exclusive books.
Excellent.
All in November. Yeah, one in Joburg, one in Pretoria,
How
one
many
in
books
Cape
have you
Town.
done so far?
This is the 3rd, but it's the first that's actually been published by a proper publishing house.
That's terrific.
The other 2 I did myself.
And this is no doubt as a result of all the work that you've been
Yeah,
doing over the last decade
Yeah.
in this arena.
Yeah. Well, you've been a great support right from the beginning. I mean, you were there to launch my first book, the Dad book.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I think what you're doing is so important. Let's just zoom out quickly to get a proper view, because you've obviously got new information. You spend a lot of your time around people with real stories. You get to take that anecdotal information, mix it up with the research that you probably did for this book, and all the hands-on experience that you have in this arena. Give us the bird's eye view, and then let's zoom in and get into this
Sure.
six-pack inside.
Well, look, I mean, for decades, increasingly, masculinity's been under fire, hasn't it? You know, we've had the whole thing, toxic masculinity, hashtag men are trash. Boys, I do a lot of work at schools with boys. They're struggling, you know. I say to young men, are you proud to be a man? And most of them say, yeah. And then I say, would you put that on social media? No, sir, I wouldn't do that. You know. Why? Well, we'd be cancelled. And you think, well, how the hell can you be cancelled for being who you are? It's ridiculous. I do a lot of work in communities and townships and poorer communities. You know, men are really struggling. A combination of unemployment, fatherlessness, a lack of older role models, and this kind of woke prevailing sense that masculinity is bad. You know, everything wrong in the world is masculinity.
Yeah, the problem is men.
The problem is men. You know,
We're a bug, not a feature.
Exactly, and it's something to be cured, not something to be embraced and celebrated. You know, so I come from the premise that true masculinity is a beautiful gift to the world, as is true femininity. You know,
Sure.
and we co-create. I mean, you and I exist because a man got together with a woman and they conceived us.
Yeah.
And the world operates when the masculine and the feminine
It's a team
co-create.
effort.
It's a team effort, and neither one is better than the other. You know, we live in this world of polarization, don't we? You know, it's either or as opposed to both and.
So I want to just there's so many things that you've already said, and we've just started. But let's just begin with this idea that there's bad PR about masculinity
Very
out
much
there
so,
at the
yeah.
moment. And I want to resist the temptation to try and blame someone for that, and try and look at how we can craft the way forward. Because even if you've listened to the show for 2 episodes, you'll know that it comes up in our daily discussions. The differences between men and women. We are very different,
We are different,
in
yeah.
so many ways.
Yeah.
Women are great at certain things that men are shit at, and men are great at certain things that women are shit at. And obviously, there are some people who are the exceptions that make the rule.
yeah.
Okay, that's bound to happen. There's been this weird emphasis over the last few years that before you say anything good about men, or before you stand up for men in any way, you have to do this bowing and scraping, this thing. It's almost like these are the words you have to say before you can start a conversation in any public forum. And I hear in the corporate world especially, there are programs constantly about girls, women, trying to increase female empowerment, whatever that is. It's more talk shops like this G20 I was talking to Ben about
the whole day
earlier.
yesterday. I'll tell
Were
you?
you?
About it. Yeah.
Oh,
There was a side meeting for.
we got to break into this quickly. Go.
Positive. There was a side thing about positive masculinity. So it was just a very expensive virtue signaling episode, you know. And you could, Gareth, you could cut what happened yesterday and paste it 10 years back, and nothing has changed whatsoever. You know, it's just.
They've learned nothing.
Well, the point is, dignitaries and politicians talk. They don't do.
And they don't listen.
And they don't listen. And they love talking. And it's a posturing. Virtue signaling has become, I think, one of the biggest sins of the day. You know, it's just people wanting to appear to be good and virtuous.
In other words, it was a waste of your time?
Look, it was great networking. It was. You know, I met some great people, head of big corporations, able to share my stuff, etc.
Right.
So that was useful to me. But in terms of what good it actually does the world, I doubt it.
Well, probably very little. But to go back to the point I was making is that before you can say anything good about men, and before you can stand up for men or do the kind of advocacy that you clearly do, that you write about, that you are on the ground experiencing, that you're trying to infuse into the culture, before you can do that, you have to do this weird little dance where you pander to feminists and femininity, and you say, well, as much as I'm about to do something for men, let's acknowledge that women have gone through enormous.
Yeah.
So here are a couple of things that I know for a fact. Male suicide is far, far higher. The numbers in South Africa and in the world.
4 times on average, globally.
4 times higher than female suicide. If men have a job, and if they don't, they're probably committing suicide because it's very important for men, especially in South Africa. Their entire value is in how much they can bring home in terms of the bacon, right? If they can get a job, they tend to work harder jobs. They tend to work more dangerous jobs. They tend to work night shift or work in security or in the jobs where they're protecting people. These are not necessarily glamorous. Of course, the jobs that we're always told men have are the CEO jobs and the financial jobs and all the glossy, cool jobs that everybody wants, not just feminists who complain about inequality. We also know that at school is more or less geared to women. It's not geared to guys. So young girls,
the younger ages. Yep.
I mean, guys don't want to sit still for hours learning the names of various organs of a frog. It's just, it'll work for 15 minutes, but girls are better at that than guys are.
They are.
University, I think the admissions at university in South Africa, it's something like 60-40 at the moment.
And the graduations too.
And heading further in the direction of more women and further away from men. So we're actually now overcompensating to a bizarre degree, and the numbers are not reversing.
No.
They're not stabilizing at 50-50. They've gone further, and they're going to continue to go further. So education is kind of not the right system as it's currently structured for men. Work is not currently the right system for men because men, in order to progress, have to not only be better than, smarter than, faster than, more results-driven than, but they also have to beat a woman who is probably necessarily as good or less good 99% of the time in order to even be taken seriously, because the woman will always be given, because we have these bizarre laws and these bizarre...
Well, affirmative action for women does do that.
Yeah.
It does. Look,
so what did I leave out that men are up against? Because it seems to me that even though these are real things that you can measure, it's only you and I talking about it.
Yeah, look, it's not politically correct to talk about it. That's the problem. And so men are up against it in a very, very big way, and they're not allowed to talk about it. But the thing is, Gareth, what it does is it creates a polarization and an either-or society as opposed to a both-and collaborative society.
Right.
The reality is, in terms of intellectual capacity, men and women are very similar. You know?
Sure.
Men are not more intelligent than women and vice versa.
Absolutely
men and
not.
women tend to be more linguistically gifted. Men tend to be more mathematically. I mean, there are slight differences there.
And you could say that there are differences that came up this morning in the amount of risk, for example.
Yeah, we're more... Well, this is the big difference, is we're driven by different things. So men are far more interested in engineering-type topics, objects, you know. I mean, there was a
Women
study...
are more interested in people.
In people, 100%. You know, so if we allow a totally egalitarian society, which is really equal opportunity as opposed to equal outcome, in other words, we create an opportunity where everyone is able to do whatever they really want to do, we're going to find big differences in the workplace. You're going to find
Norway, Denmark,
exactly.
Sweden,
Yeah.
where they have the most equal society, and yet they have 70 to 80% of the engineers who are men.
Yeah. Because more men want to do that.
70 to 80% of the teachers are women.
Yeah, and the care and the medical, you know, tend to be more women because it's caregiving.
Yeah.
I mean, and we should allow that. We should encourage that. You know, I think that we're living in a world where, I mean, men are getting such contrary messages. We're feminizing men. We're saying to men, be in touch with your emotions. You know, the woman can be the breadwinner. But then very few women will actually choose the kind of guy that does that, because she wants a guy who she feels safe with, who she feels has the competence and the resource to actually be there for her when she needs him. You know, so men are being told to be a certain thing, and then they're being rejected for being that very thing.
So why are they lying? Why are they speaking with a forked tongue and saying they want these soft beta male kind of, listen to me, I want to I want someone I can confide in and talk to and moan with and tell you about my day. But then in private or when they're drunk, every girl I've ever met will admit, I want a masculine guy. I don't want some fucking loser.
But Gareth, isn't that the world today? There's delusions that are flooding the world. And a small minority take up the delusions and they shout very loudly about it. And then the vast majority of people are too scared to be cancelled to fight against it. I mean, that's one thing I really admire about you. You've always spoken, whether it's popular or not, you speak it, you say it, and I mean, I think you did a recent clip recently where you said, don't worry about what people think, just say the truth, and it's there are not enough people doing that. Look, I think one of the great things that's happened with America now is a lot of the wokeness has been. It's okay not to be woke now. I think that has,
Right.
I mean, one of the things.
It's certainly, I wouldn't say wokeness is dead,
No, but it's certainly.
but it's had lost a lot of ground.
It's lost a lot of ground, which is because we need to be able to speak the truth. And the reality is, if you go back to manhood, masculinity. I say to young men. Firstly, I say to them, in your heritage in your DNA is a rich heritage of heroism. I mean, you look back at any of our cultures, whether Africa,
Absolutely.
Asia, men have stood up and fought and given their lives.
Listen, anyone in your family tree prior to 20, 30 years ago, which means anything from your grandfather going back, these guys worked tough as nails. You had to be to survive.
Yeah.
If you weren't taken out by war, which almost every generation was involved in at various levels, you were taken out by disease, by poverty, by earthquakes, by wild
Industrial
animals,
accidents,
by whatever. I mean, in
yeah.
the factory, the fucking hammer
yeah,
fell from the
exactly.
top floor and knocked your great-grandfather out. You wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And all of these guys were spectacular, even in big and small ways.
Absolutely. I say to these guys, if masculinity was toxic, so if you look at the Titanic, which was just over 100 years ago, I think 19% of women perished in that, and 75% of the men on board perished. Now, if men were toxic, not a single woman would have survived, would they? I mean, Kate would have been in the water and Jack would have been in the lifeboat. I mean,
Correct.
because of superior strength, So men gave their lives, literally, and that's what masculine. So I say to guys, there are two aspects of masculinity.
Another great illustration too of why inequality is a good thing. If you had equality there, then it would be each for himself.
Every man and woman for themselves.
And the results would have been very, very different. And I don't think I want to live in a world where men just let the women die.
And, Gareth, I don't want to live in a world which just has men either. It would be a disaster.
Hell no.
We want, men and women of equal value in society, but so different, play such different roles. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So going back to masculinity, we need to be the warrior and the lover, both, at appropriate times. There are times when my daughter mustn't see me cry, because if I do cry, she's going to feel insecure. She needs me to man up. Even though I feel like it, I need to man up, take it on the chin, get out there and make it happen. That's the warrior, and every one of us needs to be that. And we're not encouraging men to be warriors now. But I also need to be the lover. So there are times when it's okay for her to see me cry. You're watching a sad movie or something and she sees Dad. That's fine. She knows I'm human.
Yeah.
But so it's about being the warrior and the lover in appropriate proportions at the right time. And so what's gone wrong with masculinity now is you've got the Andrew Tates on the one side, the macho domineering, and he's filling a gap. Let me tell you that. So
Well,
boys,
in the vacuum that has been created.
that's exactly right. There's a vacuum. Boys are crying, where are these strong men? He is one, but he's gone over the top. It's a macho domineering. You got to.
Yeah,
have
it's very. It can be very mean about women, and I'm being generous here.
Yeah.
He's got some ideas which I absolutely don't agree with. But what do you expect to happen?
Well, that's exactly it.
when you treat men as a bug and not a feature of
100%.
humanity. So I do want to move past this, though. What do you see happening? And maybe you address this in the book. I haven't had a chance to read all of it yet. But what do you see happening in relationships? Because when I see 20-something guys, they're having a very hard time finding girls, and the girls are having a hard time choosing the guys. It's become almost this idea of selection of a mate is more complicated than ever before. It's partly as a result of social media, and it's partly as a result of the fact that people have unrealistic expectations.
Yep.
What do you think's going on there? And is it harder for them to find someone than it was for our generations before?
I think it's easier and harder. Easier in the fact that you can, I mean, the world is available to you on internet. I mean, through dating apps. But I don't think it's as real and genuine. You met a person in the past and it was real. It was face to face. It was, if you wanted to ask her out, you had to phone the house and speak to the dad first and get through that, so you had to jump through some loops. Now you can just, so hookup culture's cheapened relationships.
it is.
Enormously. It's made it something that's just
Low friction.
Easy in and out, And let's be honest, men and women are looking for different things, I mean, the hypergamy is very real. Men, you'll find a CEO, a powerful man, and he'll be very attracted to a waitress who's attractive, whereas you won't find the reverse. You won't find a CEO woman attracted to, So men are very aesthetically driven. Women are very much driven by someone who is perceived to be competent and powerful and able to provide and protect, And I don't think we're encouraging men to be that enough. So this book very much is about let's be strong, competent, values-driven men, but also good.
What do you think a high-value man, what do you think his characteristics and qualities are? And then tell me what you think a high-value woman's characteristics and qualities are.
And there's definitely an overlap, I mean, a man who's high value, he takes full responsibility. He continually builds himself. So physically, mentally, spiritually, he's growing. He never blames. He gives more than he takes. He does his very best to provide. He's safe. He's emotionally safe and physically safe. I love what my son used to say. He took up jiu-jitsu, became South African under-18 champion, and it was very surprising for me because he's a gentle giant.
Yeah.
And he said to me, Dad, I will never start a fight, but he said I will end one. And I think that's what women want, a guy who's not aggressive. He'll never start a fight, but he's able to end it, He's able to stand up,
That's terrific.
I mean, that's a guy.
And what does a high-value woman look like?
A high-value woman is one who embraces her femininity, her womanhood, one who does her best to look the best she can. It's not one who's, again, takes responsibility, doesn't blame, loves, supports. I mean, similar qualities.
A lot of the qualities overlap.
They overlap, but they express themselves in different ways, don't they?
So where have we gone wrong? If things are as dire as I think they might be, in terms of the value and the understanding of the positives around masculine and feminine, which you've just given a very good few versions of in terms of those qualities. Where have we gone wrong? Where did it all start falling apart? Do we? And I again want to resist the desire to blame. Yeah. But does feminism have to share some of the responsibility for where we're at now? Has feminism gone past the station?
It has. I mean, feminism is a beautiful thing if it says we want equal opportunity for men and women, equal rights and equal. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's what true feminism originally was.
Sure.
Fighting for women's rights to vote, women's rights, and that's a fantastic thing. But when it goes overboard, it starts to become men are bad and women are good. And
misandry.
Misandry, exactly.
We hear the word misogyny all the time. That's men who have an abiding and dirty and horrible dislike for women that manifests as hatred and cruelty and all of those things. Misandry is the opposite.
It's the opposite. And that's why the whole thing toxic, you get toxic humanity, good and bad people.
Yeah,
I love what Solzhenitsyn says. He says the line between good and evil doesn't run through states and religions. It runs through the heart of every man and every woman. Everyone has the capacity to be phenomenal.
You could wake up tomorrow and you decide to become a serial killer.
You can,
or you could wake up tomorrow and decide to start a family.
It's within each one of us. That book, Ordinary Men, about the Nazis in Poland. I don't know if you read it. It's an astonishing book. It's about how ordinary policemen were actually trained to become killers of Jews, commit the most atrocious acts. And they were just guys like you and I. But because they were indoctrinated and given orders from above, they became these horrible, and we're all capable of that. So we've got to be aware of that. So there's a humility to it, and there's an equality to it.
I don't want to go over old territory because there are episodes where you and I have spoken to each other before, and I don't want anyone to enjoy this discussion and see that we've had these conversations at some point before. So just briefly, the last time we chatted, we spoke quite a lot about the particular problems of South Africa. And you've hinted at those already, that we have many young men who are growing up without male role models. We have many deadbeat dads in South Africa who just take no responsibility for their kids. I heard a frightening stat the other day that something like 50% of the children who are registered at Home Affairs, you have to be registered. Lawfully, it is a requirement that every child, their birth is registered, you get the certificates. It's a necessary part of being a citizen. 50% of the kids who are registered as new births in South Africa are registered without fathers.
I think it's above that. I think it's closer to 60%.
Oh, really? It's got
huge.
worse.
It's huge, yeah. It's huge.
Why? What is going on here? You
Look,
must have looked into the possible causes, because this is at the heart of what is wrong.
It really is. Look, so much is wrong with South Africa. You know, I mean, the last 30 years have been a disaster, haven't they, in so many ways, you know.
And before.
No, absolutely. You know, ANC was handed a curveball, but they continued to make it even worse. You know, migrant labor, economic issues have destroyed families. You know, I mean, there's so many kids growing up. You know, I do a lot of work in Alexandra, a lot of work in Khayelitsha. I mean, the number of sibling-led households, the number of kids growing up without a father. And I mean, a boy growing up without, you know, the elephant story, it's in Pilanesberg. You know, in Pilanesberg in the early 1990s, in the Kruger Park, the elephant population got too large. So instead of culling, they relocated some elephants to the Pilanesberg, a new park. Everything was great for a while, but after a couple of years, the male elephants started behaving abominably. They started literally trying to mate with rhinos, killing rhinos, charging tourists, and because they'd only relocated small elephants. And the only thing that helped or solved the problem was they went back to the Kruger Park, got 2 bull elephants, fully grown, relocated them, and within 2 weeks the behavior had completely changed. So in the absence of bull elephants, of males showing young boys how to behave, they run amok. You know, testosterone kicks in. Where do they get their cues from? Their peers, social media, pornography, or whatever, and they start behaving very, very badly. You know, so you need the older bull elephants in communities and societies, fathers, uncles, role models, to impart to younger men how to behave.
But these guys don't. It's not as if we only have, 30% of the population as men. In South Africa, we have a slight imbalance in the female.
There are enough men, but they're broken.
But where are they? What are they doing?
Well, they're broken.
What are these guys doing?
Look, unemployed. You mentioned it earlier. An unemployed man struggles deeply because he feels completely inadequate. He feels like he can't provide, and society gives him that message. You know, you're useless. You can't provide. You're useless. So what do they do? A lot of them guys turn to alcohol, turn to drugs, turn to, you walk through the streets of many communities in South Africa, it's milling with men, midday, no work, And so these guys are broken and feel completely and utterly emasculated. They turn to things like alcohol and drugs to numb the pain. And, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but then what happens? Violence emerges. So there's growing up unparented, unloved, unvalidated, undisciplined, unmentored. You're gonna run amok, and then that becomes an intergenerational cycle, which is not broken.
Have there been any meaningful programs from the point of view of government? I mean, we've got a Department of Women, Children, and People with Disabilities, I think it is. But have there been any programs other than talk shops like the one you were at just the other day, where there are funds, staff, programs, results, successes, any kind of improvement in society from the government point of view? Is there anything going on?
Gareth, I mean, not nearly enough. I mean, the GBVF fund, Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Fund, has done some good. They raised literally billions, and they fund a multitude of different NGOs on the ground that do work, and there's some lovely programs there. But it's mostly been done by the private sector, the NGO sector.
Well, what are they doing?
They
GBV
fund multitudes of organizations, such as Father a Nation, which I run. We get a bit of funding from them that are doing work on the ground. And some of them are good and some of them are not so good.
And what kind of work do you do, for example, if they fund you? What sort of stuff do you guys?
So what we do with men is we found a really winning formula. We find champions in the community, men who just really want to, and there are so many, great men, Charles Mpefu in Alex was running a men's forum voluntarily for many years. We met him. I put him on board. He selected himself. Through him and through organizations in the community, we select men who can be champions. We take them away on a very intensive training camp, equipping them with 6-pack principles. What does it mean to be a good man? and they go back into the communities as mentors, and they run. We've done 3,500 men in Alex this year. They run small group dialogues with men, and they get men to tell their story in a small group, and it's amazing the healing that takes place. Men tell their story, and they've never been listened to. Men have never been listened to, and they've never been encouraged to tell their story.
Well, isn't that also because if you're a guy and you're complaining about your life, no one really wants to hear
they don't
you.
wanna hear
This
it.
is why guys commit suicide.
And you're perceived
rather.
as weak.
Yeah, and you don't want to be that guy who's always moaning about shit either. You've just got to suck it up and handle it. That's what your dad and your granddad and your great granddad would have done.
That's the expectation.
And if you're a man who's always moaning about how unfair the world is, and no one wants to. Your wife doesn't want to hear that. Your girlfriend doesn't want to hear that. Your children don't want to hear that. That's a bad place to be. So if you can go into a forum where it's other guys and you know you can be honest with each other, I think that probably brings about a lot of healing.
It heals, Gareth. You cannot believe the healing. I mean, guys break down in tears, and there's a brotherhood that forms. So you get this brotherhood of guys. Suddenly they can share stuff they've never shared with anybody else, and people are affirming them and saying it's okay. Amazing healing takes place. Then we teach them the 6 virtues of positive masculinity.
Okay, so this is the 6-pack that we're going to get
Six-pack,
to.
yeah.
So unpack the 6-pack for me, because I think it's a great metaphor. It's a terrific container which you've based the book around. And there are these 6 things. So let's get into them.
So briefly, first quality, number 1, is you use your strength for good. You know, men can. Our strength is our ability to impact other people in the world. That's our strength. You know, it's not your bicep, whatever. And we all have it. We all have the ability to impact other lives. And you can either fail to use it, you can misuse it, or you can use it for good. So you get passive men who do nothing. You know, their lives at the end of their lives are like, did he even exist? You know, he didn't.
There's nothing to say on the tombstone or at the funeral.
He spent his days watching porn and drinking and just not being where he should be. The other one is aggressive. You know, they use their strength to dominate. You know, whether it's physically, sexually, verbally, whatever. But a good man, number 1, uses his strength for good, and that requires 2 things. Number 1, grow your strength. I think we've got a sacred responsibility to become powerful. You know,
Yes.
power is neutral, isn't it? You know, nuclear power can be used to destroy a city or to light up a city. Masculine power is the same. You know, we need to grow it. The more power I have, the more able I am to do. So we tell men, know your power, grow your power, and use it for good. Don't be passive. Don't be aggressive. Number 2, define yourself by character. And this is a tough one, you know. We define ourselves by our image, by the woman on our arm, by the car we drive, by the school our kids go to. And say, well, hang on a sec, what really makes you a man is your character. Are you a man of your word? Do you have integrity? Do you have a set of values that you live by, you know? Define yourself by that. And we all, you know, we pose, hey, Gareth? I mean, we all do that, you know? I mean, my kids were St. Stithians, and you know, once I was driving there with an old beaten-up car because my car was in for service. I saw these Range Rovers and BMs, you know, and I parked on the side until they, you know, and I realized, shit, Craig, what's wrong with you? You know,
Stupid.
Stupid. You're judging yourself.
But we all do it.
We all do it, you know?
And,
so
and there are occasions where we're brimming over with confidence, and sometimes where we're insecure. But character it is a tough one to figure out. It's a tough thing to define. I think that character has to do with those values, to do with meaning what you say, doing what you say,
absolutely,
being trustworthy, honorable.
Yes.
But it's also having a personality.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many people who just don't have that today because they don't bother to develop it. No. You know, we've got so many other priorities. So I'm not blaming people for being boring, but the reality is that people have ordinary day-to-day shit they have to do, which is about earning money, getting the kids to school, paying the bills, feeding everybody, arranging family stuff and work stuff, and there's a ton of stuff that comes in. So they don't develop their personality. If you had sat with them for 15 minutes, there would be enough with most people.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
character means you have to have a little more than the 15 minutes.
Very much. Well, one of the questions I ask guys is, if you had to introduce yourself without any allusion to ethnicity or occupation or religion,
can't use the demographics.
No, none of that. What would you say? Who are you? You know, who's Gareth? You know, I mean, what
adjectives?
What is the essence of who you are?
Describe yourself
exactly.
with adjectives.
And very few people get that right. You know, it's like, this is I am. You know, I say to people, the most important words in your dictionary are the words you use to finish the sentence, I am. Who am I?
Yeah.
You know, who am I? I'm not an accountant and a father. Of course, I mean, we all have a role.
And yet, when guys meet girls, all we tend to do is talk about ourselves when all we should do is just shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Right?
Very much so.
So the second one is character. The first one is use your power for good.
Yeah.
Use your strength for good.
Very much so. The third one is tend your fields. In other words, take responsibility. Step up and do what you got to do. You have yourself to look after.
And number one, don't make a child and then leave.
100%. I mean,
That's like a basic thing.
It's the worst thing you could possibly do.
I think that those are. Do you think those guys are redeemable?
Yes, they are. Gareth, most people want to be.
Because to me, that's a sin. I mean, I'm not a religious person, but when I think about it, if I made a child, even if it was unwillingly, let's say, I got a girl pregnant by mistake, and she wasn't the right girl, and I didn't want her to be the mother of my child, but she's gonna have the child.
It is what it is. You got to step up.
And at that point, you just have to do the right
100%.
thing.
100%.
Doesn't matter how it happened.
A man does what a man needs to do. That's taking responsibility, very much so.
Are they redeemable?
They are redeemable because, look, a lot of behavior is driven by woundedness and a distorted worldview or understanding the world. And wounds can be healed, and mixed and wrong ideologies and worldviews can be corrected. So it is redeemable. Number 4, I say to guys, build a band of brothers. Life's not a solo sport. We need each other. And one of the things that the research has made very clear is men are lonely. We get increasingly lonely. And it's because we have responsibilities and we're in a silo and we aren't able to talk. So we can have a guy that we can have a beer with, watch a game with, but does he really know you?
Well, this is one of the areas men and women are also different, and women are just better at this.
Very
They're
much
better at the social connections.
Far more.
They're better at keeping up the conversations, at replying to the messages, at taking an interest in other people's lives, talking about how you're feeling.
They're
Guys are not
fantastic.
so good at that. You're like, I haven't seen Tom for fucking 6 weeks. I haven't thought about him.
Exactly.
That's how we are.
And when you do meet, you're going to
When you
talk
see
about
him, you'll be
rugby.
like, hey, man, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they say one of the biggest lies men tell is, I'm fine, when you're not fine. Because we don't reveal to each other. We don't, so to
Yeah,
have
but who wants to hear that moan?
well, but you do need some brothers who are able to hear that, Not the general public.
No, sure.
But you need, if
Yeah.
I'm, Gareth, I had a very close friend, 6 years ago, took his own life, left behind a wife, 2 kids. And when we looked at his suicide notes, well, firstly, at the funeral, we all asked each other's mates, did you know?
Yeah.
None of us knew. We didn't know. Now, had we known what he was going through, he probably would be alive today. Because you'd step in and it was a money issue. And if you looked at his notes, he thought that his insurance payout was worth more to his family than him being alive. He honestly believed that. That was his conviction. So in some ways, it was an act of sacrificial love. I can't provide for you anymore. Temporarily, I've lost everything, but my insurance payment can. That's the distortion. So a band of good brothers will, firstly, we call each other out. If I'm a good friend of yours and I see you doing something that I think is you shouldn't, I say, Gareth, dude, come on, hey, brother, that's, So we sharpen each other. But
Yes.
secondly, we support each other. If we're able to know each other, we say, dude, it's not the end of the world. You lost all your money. You can start again, man. Come stay with me for a while. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing. So that band of brothers is crucial. Number 5, mentor the next generation. We need to live a life as men. You see, masculinity is almost like a vehicle. Vehicles are they're a gift to society. We use one every day, but they're also dangerous. If you don't drive a vehicle properly, it moves from being a gift to being a weapon. And you cannot learn how to drive a car by watching a YouTube clip. You need someone who knows how to drive a car
You have to do it
teach you.
practically.
100%. So we need men who know what it means to be a man to impart to us, to younger boys, this is how you do it. When you get a hard on and you're excited about that, and she says no, it means no, I mean, otherwise we're driven by things that we don't control, When you
But
get
you
to
revert to animal stuff.
revert to animal,
And or you never learn. So, I mean, it could be that. It could be, this is how you fix a plug. This is
All
how
of the
you
above.
put
All
in a
of the
new
above.
light bulb. This is, and so many guys don't know how to do this stuff.
They haven't been fathered, they haven't been mentored.
No one's shown them how to change a tire.
Exactly. And women want a man who can change a tire.
Absolutely.
They do, and
Absolutely.
so that mentor the next. And the final one, Gareth, is just make the world a better place. So you can judge a man's character by looking at his wife, and I mean it's a bit simplistic, but in many ways, is my wife a better woman because I'm in her life? Am I loving her? Am I watering her? Am I encouraging her? Am I helping her to become the very best person she can be? Or am I berating her and tearing her down? So is my wife a better woman? Are my children better? Are my colleagues better? Is South Africa a better place because I'm in it? So you just, and I mean, those are fairly simple things.
All right, so we're heading into something called International Men's Month.
Yes.
Does this mean anything to you? Has it got anything to do with Movember?
Well, Movember is part of it. 19th of November is International Men's Day. You know, we have a Women's Day, we have a Men's Day. It's much less known than Women's Day, which says it all, doesn't it?
I suppose I'll have to buy a fucking outfit now, right? I mean, I don't know what all these days and who cares.
No, exactly. I mean,
right?
look, exactly who cares? We should be doing it the whole year.
Men's
all
month.
of it, you know. Well, you know, look, suicide.
Does it help you to get the message out?
Yeah, a lot of people call on me to do talks.
So other people know about Men's Day, even if we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Which says a lot, doesn't it?
Sure.
We know about Women's Day, but not Men's Day. You know,
Yeah.
Bring a girl child to work, but no. What about the poor boy? You
Yeah.
know, ministry and the presidency for women, but
No.
no. You know,
Ah,
so there
let's
is
get
the
on with
neglect. It's either or instead of both and. You know, we you know what we're doing to empower women is beautiful. We mustn't stop that, but we must also not neglect our boys. You know, it's both. It should be both.
Do you think, and I think it's all good and well that we blame, let's not even say blame, that we acknowledge the role that culture has played, that politics has played in this situation that masculinity is in peril at the moment. But how much of it is also men being those passive kind of beta male guys that you were talking about earlier? There are a lot of guys who are letting down the side.
Yeah, very much.
So there are people like you who are valiantly fighting the good fight out there. But then there are these guys who don't actually know what it is to be a man, even if they were raised properly and everything else. They're giving up the important things about masculinity and trying, or through the culture or through, I don't know, people talking about, you know, estrogen in the water. I don't know whether there's any truth to this stuff at all. But they're becoming these feminized men who, frankly, no one has any use for. Women don't have a use for them. Men don't have a use for them. I can't think of a group that does.
No. Look, the opposite of masculinity is not femininity. The opposite of masculinity is passivity. We're not designed to be passive. We're designed to step up and stand up and make it happen. You know?
Right.
I mean, this building was built by men. The
Sure.
car you drive was probably built mostly by men.
Sure.
So, you know, the oil that goes into our vehicles drawn out by men. I mean, the world needs strong, competent, good men who just bloody well make it happen. You know, so the man bun, quiche eating, latte sipping, you know, you know, I mean, it's not it's not really what we're all about.
No. So those guys, you agree with me, don't really have, in evolutionary terms, any function in society.
No,
And many of them, by the way, I suspect, I have no research to back this up, I suspect many of those guys are not only a passive force, but can sometimes be a very dangerous force in society. They pretend to be allies to feminists. They pretend to be the friend that the shoulder that they can cry on. They are always lurking in the background, and I think can be the source of quite a lot of danger.
100%. You know, passive men are very dangerous men. They really are. They don't father. They don't lead by example. They don't do what men are supposed to do. And as you said, you know, who really wants that? You know, we want strong.
They're like
courageous-
hyenas that pick up the scraps
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than lions that actually make the kill.
Absolutely. And again, you know, this is the subtlety of it, and I think this is where it goes wrong. Is you want men who are sensitive and caring and loving, but they must also be powerful and strong and assertive. You know, they have to be both. The warrior lover, you know, the warrior poet. You can't have one without the other.
I'm getting very strong messages of not either or both from you this morning, which I think is a great message to take away with this.
And women are awesome. You know, women are also strong and courageous.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
You got the Rosa Parks of the world. You know, sat in the front of the bus. You know, you got the Florence Nightingales. You got, you got amazing. You know, this president of Italy now, don't you? I mean, she's just a
Meloni.
Yeah,
she's terrific.
she's
I do like her a lot. And often it's not about the office you occupy, but the example you set. I mean, you mentioned Florence Nightingale. This was a woman who was a nurse. They never made her a doctor. They never gave her a medal. But my God,
she transformed the medical profession.
if you know, she wasn't there in the Crimea, many more people would have
Saved
died.
millions of lives,
And
yeah.
because of the way that she ran her hospital, everything else changed in the way that we do
She revolutionized
healthcare
it.
and
Yeah.
trauma and every other kind of healthcare since then.
So, I mean, the bottom line, let women be women and men be men, and let us both work together as equal partners to create a beautiful world.
But you mentioned you have a daughter and you mentioned you have a son. How do you show up differently for the boy, and how do you show up differently for the girl?
Well, you don't wrestle with your daughter, but you do wrestle with your son, you know? You don't, matric dance was hilarious, Gareth. I mean, my son, is like the day before, oh, shit, I need a jacket. Let's go to bed because, my daughter had started 6 months before,
Yeah,
you gotta
right.
find, and then you got to find the material and then the dress and then the
Yeah.
accoutrements, and you treat her like a princess and a queen. You do. With your son, you give him a good, it's different. You love them equally, they're both equal human
course.
beings, but they are different, They want different things. When my son turned 11, I said, Luke, what do we want to do for your birthday? Give me a list, as long as it's not too expensive. So Gareth, he gives me this list. Promise you, I want to invite all my friends around and wrestle you. Number 2, we want to have a game of rugby. Then we want to arm wrestle. Then we want to have some firecrackers. And he says, Dad, I don't want to just light the firecrackers. He says, can we blow something up? It's 11 year old.
Right.
And then they wanted to play PlayStation the whole night and have a braai. And we did it. It was chaos. It was mayhem. I mean, I was stiff for days. I mean, and you think, where does this come from, There's a lovely book written by a guy called John Elrod. It's called Wild at Heart. And he says, the 3 drivers of the masculine soul are the desire for a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to pursue.
That's
Battle,
spot on.
adventure, beauty. You want a big
I
life.
think that sounds like the most exciting thing you could give me as a menu for a weekend.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't imagine anything
fight
better.
a battle, live an adventure, and pursue beauty. I mean, it's
love
what
it.
drives men, And and he says the corollary for women, I mean, some people get upset, is to be fought for, an adventure to share, women are, and a beauty to unveil. Isn't that beautiful?
I don't think that's unequal. I think
No,
that's
no.
actually
It's synergistic. isn't it?
tremendous. Yeah, I love that. Oh, man. Such good shit from you today, as always. All right, so we've told people they can get the book at all good bookstores. You're doing book launches at Exclusive Books. Everything else good?
Fantastic.
What else is news?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in a long time.
It has been a while, Gareth. Yeah, it's a busy time. Yeah, I'm doing interesting work with corporations. Allyship work, which is it's quite a tightrope to walk. Allyship, because it's often part of the DEI department, and DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, is a good and a bad thing. Depending on how you.
Well, I imagine you get a certain kind of person in the DEI department. I look askance at these people. I think that they are non-productive.
Can be.
They are non-profitable. They're a drain on the resources of the company and do very little measurable good other than cause political shit and follow, UN
He for she
set
guidelines.
rules and guidelines that are bound to just frustrate companies that are there to make money.
Look, this is the subtle nuance of it. The intent is good. We all want a society where no one is excluded and no one's dissed because of who they are. But, when it becomes the predominant theme, like someone said recently in America, a lot of these events now happen and there's this whole ceremony about honoring the people who originally were the owners of
The land acknowledgement.
Yeah. And the white guy said, either give them the land back or shut the F up.
Correct.
Just do
Absolutely.
something real.
Spot on.
Do something real and practical and good. Don't virtue signal.
I have no time for that either. I do think that things are turning around, and I mean, from my point of view, I wouldn't say this is a good thing for some people who make their money out of DEI, but I think we're getting back to and society swings. It's swings and roundabouts the whole time. The pendulum swings. So what we've been through over the last few years is a huge emphasis on oppressed people, minorities, those who've been put upon, women, people with disabilities, races ethnicities that have found themselves oppressed for some reason. It's kind of, it's what a compassionate society should do a lot of the
So
time.
the intent initially was good.
And occasionally we just go past the station. What do you have to say, if anything at all, about this very bizarre turnaround where almost nobody will now stand up for the trans community that everybody was standing up for 5 minutes ago? And if you said anything against them 5 minutes ago, you would have been a bigot.
Yeah.
And now you can't find an American politician who will out and out say that they are in favor of, child sex change surgery.
And what's interesting is there are far less people now at institutions, universities claiming to be trans. Far less.
Well, it's just become untrendy.
It's untrendy, yeah.
Right, so
Look,
we know it was a social contagion. The
100%.
verdict is in.
The verdict is in. I mean, look, it was an utter insanity in the first place, Gareth. I mean, to say to a 12-year-old, boy, you're actually a girl, or give them the ability to. It's an utter outrage, insanity. One of the quotes I put in the book is, if you can get people to believe absurdities, you can get them to commit atrocities. And that's one of the prime examples. The absurdity is that a 12-year-old can choose their gender. And the atrocity is you give them puberty blockers. I mean, it's just insane.
Well, I think the real atrocity is that adults were part and parcel of what was going
adults, medical professionals.
Outrageous in every way.
That's sinful. That is pure evil.
It is. It's evil.
That is pure evil. If an adult decides he's a male and wants to dress like a woman, I mean...
Yeah, sure, there are all kinds of people.
Power to him, I mean...
Go for it.
Go for it. There's no... But children? No.
Yeah, you don't interfere with that stuff until the child is at an age where they can truly understand and where they can make the choice with all of the facts in front of them, and they've lived and their body is developed normally. And you've allowed that development to happen naturally.
100%, because it
until that has happened, you are not allowed to interfere.
Did you see the insane interviews of someone asking people, and they were answering sincerely, should a child be, 12-year-old be given the right to have a tattoo? No, I don't think it's right that they could choose to do such an irreversible thing.
Yeah, irreversible. They use the word, right?
They use the word.
Sure.
But can they take puberty blockers? Yeah. I mean, that's beyond insane, Gareth. I mean, that's a delusion that you think, how can an otherwise intelligent person actually believe
Well, I don't know that anyone thinks they're evil when they say things like that.
They don't. They
the
believe
villain in the obvious the superhero movie. The villain doesn't. Most people are not like those villains. In the superhero movies, the villain knows that I'm going to do the most evil thing I could. Like they aren't. That's comical. In every sense of the word.
These people are deluded.
Yeah, they operate on a plane where they believe they're doing the right thing. They've been either convinced or they've convinced themselves that they're on the right side of an issue, and they cannot see the wood for the trees.
No, they can't. But
and the same has happened with feminists, and the same has happened with Marxists, and the same has happened with trans activists. It's all the same family.
The whole Israel-Palestine thing too is
too.
I mean. You wonder though, willful delusion, or I mean, how can people be so blind to what's obviously true?
Well, a lot of it is what I said just now about, and you brought up how many people have turned away from the trans movement. It's social contagion. The pressure to belong is so severe.
I think that's what it is.
And so overwhelming. Yeah. And there are certain people who are much more affected. For example, I mean, we didn't even get into this, but teenage girls are facing an epidemic of social media personality assaults on a daily basis to their confidence, to their femininity, to their belonging, to everything. And I would hate to be a teenage girl with a phone in 2025.
And that's why bulimia is so big.
But social contagions have a viral and a pernicious and a malevolent effect on everything that we do. And unless you can recognize it early, you get swept up in it, and eventually it becomes your narrative. And that's how you describe the world to yourself. And remember, as Dr. Hanan said this morning, you think your memories are reliable. But actually, your brain is constantly updating the software, changing the memories, making up a story.
narrative to suit you.
It makes up stories. That's what your brain does. It's a storybook that gets rewritten every single day. So be careful.
And you know what the antidote to that social contagion is, and we talked a bit about it earlier, is the three great needs of every human being is an identity, validity, and belonging. And that's what people are seeking in that.
What do you mean validity?
Am I a valid, legitimate human being? That's where the imposter syndrome comes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I know who I am, and I have a conviction of who I am,
right.
and I think who I am is good.
And the third one was
belonging. So identity, validity, and belonging, and that's what people seek in these things. So if I identify the particular group and I put the or the rainbow flag on my social media, whatever the case, I have a sense of belonging now.
Well, no,
and I have a sense of validity.
You're claiming a sense
That's
of
vicarious
You're
belonging.
showing the world.
It's vicarious.
This
It's not
is
real.
this is a. It's not an inside voice.
No,
it's
no,
an
no.
outside
Correct.
voice.
Yeah,
It's
you're getting it extraneously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're screaming to the abyss that like I am valid. I do belong.
Look at me, I'm virtuous. That's
Right.
what it's all about. Because
I'm a nice person.
exactly. But good parenting is an antidote to that, because good parents raise their children to know who they are, to believe in who they are, and to have a deep sense of belonging and purpose. And that's the antidote to these kind of social contagions.
I love it. Well, you are the perfect person to speak to about this, and I encourage anybody who wants to know more to, first of all, read your book, buy your book, and second of all, to get hold of you. The more of these places you can get into and speak at, the better for all of them. And I just wish you such luck and power and success in your journey, because what you've done, the number of men you've helped, the number of ideas that you've brought to the table, the fact that you're out there fighting this good fight is just terrific.
Thank you, Gareth.
So thank you.
Much appreciated. Yeah.
Bloody awesome to see you. That's Craig Wilkinson, whose book, hold it up again so they can get a look at the cover and make sure that they can see it. There we go. Force for Good is available in good stores now. And we will see you.
full.
Oh, there we go. Six-pack of masculine virtues. Is that like that's a workbook?
It's a workbook for boys at schools and colleges.
I'm going to leave that for James because he needs all the help he can get, and for Flex, who will teach James. All right, everybody, we've got to wrap this party up, and we will see you next Friday. Have an awesome weekend, and November begins tomorrow.
Can you believe it?
Yes, I had a brother who passed away almost 2 years ago at 41 of a heart attack. He was in the hospital a week prior having a stent put in. I was wondering if that procedure contributed
precipitated the heart.
Yes.
It did.
Is there anything my sister-in-law has already tried to figure this out. There's nothing that we can do. I have one other very quick question. There's heart problems in my family.
You
I
don't
have
have
to
it,
be concerned?
no.
Okay.
You're like me. You have a slight murmur, but so did my dad. He lived to be 88, so big deal.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. You had a question for Sonia.
Hi. I was just wondering if my current boyfriend was going to be a future husband or father of my
No.
children.
No, he's not husband material.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Sylvia. I'd like to know the guy that I'm with, is he the one I'm going to marry and have